Welcome, everybody, to Wednesday Night Modern here at the Nerd Rage Gaming Storefront. My name is Aviva Goodman, alongside guest commentator Chris Smith. Chris, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty excited to watch some modern content, be able to commentate, and I have some awesome feature matches for round one. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
you've played a bit of Modern yourself, so we're hoping that your knowledge serves us well tonight. I'm gonna get our players started, so you welcome Chad in.
All right, welcome in everybody. Round one, we're going to be watching Charlie versus Joseph. It's going to be Temur Breach versus Just Guy Dress Down, which is going to be pretty exciting. Charlie, I'm really excited to see how he does with this Temur Breach deck. The last event we had him at for the NRG series, he ended up winning with his team, and he was playing a Just Guy control deck. So
I'm pretty
now
sure he's the youngest player to qualify for champs this year.
I believe it. But he's a really strong player, not only just playing control decks, playing Bluetron a lot of the times, and now we're seeing him on a combo deck. And we're starting it off with a Haywire beatdown, which is going to be really nice in this matchup because of the One Ring looming in this Just Guy Dress Down deck.
Yeah, the strongest card in Just Guy is probably the One Ring, right? And then it probably plays what, some elementals?
Yeah, we're going to have some elementals, and then the main combo S or synergy piece is going to be Dress Down on end step, untap, play Null Drifter, draw 2 cards, and then its evoke cost will let it stay in play. But we're going to be able to see a Malevolent Rumble on turn 2 from Charlie, which is a really strong addition to these Underworld Breach decks, being able to fill up the library and finding your main 2 combo pieces in Grinding Station and Underworld Breach, filling that yard up for some good value.
Getting started here, a couple of setup things. I think, what was it? Joseph hasn't even played anything yet, but we've already starting to get stuff going here. Have you seen any of the cards in Charlie's hand that he's working with besides the current stuff we've got down on the board?
I'm not able to see too much. We just saw an Urza Saga go to their hand, but they're pretty much keeping their hand close to their chest. But from Joseph's side, it looks like it's mainly some control elements from their hand. I think I saw a Null Drifter. I saw the Dress Down, a couple lands, but nothing too out of the ordinary from either of the players from what I can see so far.
Let's talk about Charlie. He's obviously queued for the Energy Championship Series at the end of this year, which is no small feat. Chris, you did that last year, right?
I sure did.
What's it like? Can you talk about the difference between playing a regular Energy event versus champs? What's that like?
Yeah, so the biggest difference that me and my testing team kind of were thinking about is you're not trying to curate your deck for like an open deck list where you're trying to prep for 7, 8, 9 different decks, having some random like sideboard pieces. You're pretty much going to be looking at the players, see what their strong suits are. So going into the event, all right, I know that there's going to be some control players. For this energy, we do have a Merfolk player that's most likely going to be playing Fish in all their formats.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to be curating your deck list to be trying to beat what your expected metagame is and being able to kind of decide, all right, what am I willing to give up in my sideboard for a variety of matchups to be able to target hate towards these deck lists that I'm pretty confident will be here. So that really came in clutch, and it's part of the reason why I had some weird choices at that event.
Yeah, you did play some interesting decks there. That's really interesting. But we're gonna head back to the action for a quick second here. We see Charlie has played a Blasting Station and milled over some cards. Joseph's played his namesake card and Dress Down. Can you explain what Blasting Station does in a deck like Temur Breach?
Blasting, I believe that is Grinding
Grinding
Station that we
Station,
see in
excuse
play.
me.
Yeah, so for Grinding Station, the card is going to sacrifice an artifact, let us mill 3 cards. So with Grinding Station and Underworld Breach is going to say that you can exile 3 cards and cast a spell from your graveyard. So all the spells you cast with it is going to have that effect. So by having Grinding Station this turn and having the Emery being able to be cast with that extra mana, we're now putting our opponent into an awkward scenario where they have to respect the combo possibly
Hmm.
because Underworld Breach coming down right now. I don't know every card in Charlie's graveyard right now.
Oh, looks like Joseph's gonna tap out though and play a Teferi Time Raveler.
Ooh, so
He will.
tapping out's gonna be pretty risky.
I agree. I wonder if he's got a force in hand. He's gonna minus it on the station there.
It,
Draw a card. I didn't see anything else in his hand.
it looks like in Joseph's hand we have Null Drifter. I see a dress down in there, a land, Flage.
There's the
We do
force.
have that force plus blue card. So we do have protection for the combo. The one thing I'm not sure on is Charlie's graveyard. If there is additional pieces of the combo in the graveyard, we might be able to see some action go off right now. One of the other
Hmm.
cool elements, if we do have a Underworld Breach, is sometimes we'll just value Bobble and just draw a lot of cards, and we might even see some of it go right now where we're going to play the Bobble, crack it, and then cast it with the Emery. So then we're going to be drawing multiple cards every single turn. And then if we have a land, we will be able to activate our Urza Saga, or we're going to crack this Scalding Tarn to activate. So then we can go on the beatdown plan as well.
I'm really glad we have you here. I know in our Discord I shouted out that we were gonna have you on. I was like, hey, make sure you bring your creature combo decks tonight or your combo decks in general because you have a lot of experience with them. And Charlie is not a regular to our store and just happened to show up with Temur Breach, so I think this is pretty perfect. Round one feature here.
Yeah, and this is super awesome because I love this deck a lot. And one of the cool things that we see Charlie do is target the Springleaf Drum, which is going to allow us to have additional mana. We can cast it with the Stomping Ground. We see that Charlie actually cracked Bobble on themselves to be able to see what they're going to draw. And with that information, they decide that I don't want that card, shuffle their deck, and then, oh, they might have forgotten to draw their Bobble at upkeep.
Oh,
But we are going to be able to start getting some construct tokens if they desire to start that beatdown plan.
mm-hmm.
But I'm curious when we're going to start drawing cards with the One Ring from Joseph's side.
Not going to be this turn. He's going to opt to play a Flage instead, sending the damage at Emery, changing life totals to 20 to 12 in Joseph's favor.
Yeah, I really like this. Just being able to get rid of that Emery, it's going to slow down the card advantage engine that Charlie started up. And this is going to kind of show like the powerful effects of Urza Saga and these combo style decks. This construct token currently a 3/3 and soon to be a 5/5 if we choose to make another construct here.
Yep, with the trigger on the stack from the third chapter, Charlie will make another construct there before searching with the Urza Saga, but it looks like Joseph's got some responses. And
Y-
probably a consigned to memory?
It could be the Kassign, but the main thing is just making sure that you do your fetches before the Urza Saga trigger,
Oh,
because you
Pithy
can get that
Needle.
Pithy Needle. Oh
There
yeah.
it is. Yeah, that is only going to ever happen to you once, ideally, because you remember it pretty easily from there on.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. It's like the biggest nightmare.
that one and I mean just Pithy Needle and Urza Saga. Yeah, I remember when I was learning Legacy D&T and I learned that interaction. Like you have to respond before they go to search. You can't respond. There's no ETB effect. It's just there.
Oh yeah, and it's so backbreaking, especially if you're not ready for it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Ooh. So the one thing that I'm noticing right now from Joseph is we do have the Arena of Glory and the Flage in the Graveyard ready to come back. So we might be able to crack in for some good damage and double Lightning Helix one of these construct tokens down, gain 6 life, and have a nice swing here.
Big swing from Charlie will bring Joseph down to 11. And that plan B of just making some construct tokens as opposed to going for the big kill, combo kill. Working out pretty well for Charlie here. Back on Joseph's turn, though. He's got a couple of cards in hand. Looks like 4 or 5 to work with. All colors of mana available to him as well. He's got that Arena of Glory if he can find another land.
It looks like we are going to go for that Flage plan here.
Oh, is my math wrong? I thought he needed a 5th land to do the Arena and Flage.
So with Arena Glory, you tap for a red, and then it sinks it into double red, and then gives the creature haste. So then
Oh, it
it'll
does
be 2.
both.
Correct.
Got it. I thought it was one or the other.
And then
I've
we
never actually played the card. I just like know like theoretically the lines people take with it, but I don't actually know what the card does.
oh, ooh, we see an Unholy Heat punishing this line. And if we have Delirium, which I assume we
I would
do,
think so. Yeah. That
li-
deck seems pretty good at finding delirium. That Flage right back into the yard.
all right, so it looks like we have Solitude, 2 Null Drifters, and I think I saw a Dress Down.
He had
But
it earlier. Yeah, he hasn't played out the second one yet.
all right, so that's going to be a good way of being able to deal with these construct tokens. But I'm curious if Charlie's going to
Ooh.
lean more towards the combo now.
I mean, looks like that's the plan at the very least. Here comes Underworld Breach, the namesake card of the deck. Went to
Ooh.
combat and took it back.
I think that they were tapping 2 mana because they tapped a Springleaf Drum.
Mm-hmm.
So by tapping 2 mana, it signifies that we might have the grinding station in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just looking in the yard, seeing if we have enough resources to be able to combo kill this turn.
Have we explained the combo kill?
I don't believe we have gone into details on it just yet. So the combo kill is going to be, as I mentioned earlier, with Underworld Breach, allowing us to cast spells from our graveyard.
The Thassa's Oracle got milled over. That's
Yeah.
one of the cards. I know that
Yeah,
card.
that's the win. But Escape 3, Grinding Station's going to sacrifice sacrifice an artifact to mill target player for 3 cards. So that's what we're seeing right now, is just starting to cast cards from our graveyard, exiling 3 cards at a time. And then what we're going to do is loop Grinding Station with a 0 drop to kind of mill our entire deck here. But it looks like we're just going to do the Value Station, or Value Breach, where we're just going to start drawing a lot of cards. We're going to sacrifice the Bauble, exile 3 cards, recast Bauble. But the combo of the deck, you're going to slowly mill your entire deck. Ooh, we're milling or exiling the Thassa's Oracle, which is interesting.
Okay, so the Breach deck only ever plays one Thassa's Oracle, right? So
Yeah.
that points to not using that as the win condition.
So it sounds like Charlie just has a plan of drawing a lot of cards, having a lot of resources, just outvaluing Joseph, and then just going for the beatdown plan.
Yeah, I mean the last turn on Joseph's turn, it was a pretty big turning of the tides with that Unholy Heat. Joseph tapped out. You don't see that a lot from blue decks, so when you do, especially because he's already forced once, so you don't put him on one force. He's only got a few cards in hand anyway. So Charlie gonna push his advantage here, get some value out of the Underworld Breach. It only lasts for the one turn, right?
Correct.
Yep, so get all his value out of it. Maybe find another one. Put Joseph down to 11.
We're back at 7 cards in hand. I'm kind of curious if there's another win condition with the Breach combo stuff. I didn't see if there was a Grape Shot or the Red Spell Bomb that shoots for 2.
Mm-hmm.
But those are both ways that we can still do some combo action. I would just be worried about a dress down from the opponent if I had constructs as my main plan here. Ooh, and it looks like we're just going for a divination on Joseph's side. With
Oh,
the
he drew a force though. So that was I think kind of risky, but it paid off move there from Joseph. He'll pass it back to Charlie with a full grip.
The only thing I'm not sure is we might have force, but I don't know if we have a second blue card.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because I see it looks like a Steam Vents. I know that there's a Null Drifter. I think there's a One Ring, and I'm pretty sure there's a Solitude in their hand. So they have Solitude and Force, but no blue card and no white card.
Yeah, for chatters asking, we have both of these players 75s. They both submitted to the Discord, so we will be taking a look at that in between games 1 and 2 here.
Ooh, Emery allowing us to cast One Ring from the graveyard. And now Charlie's going to be able to start getting some great card advantage.
Which he's already had this game.
Oh, man. Now it's just going to be seeing if Joseph's able to come back from all this value that Charlie is gaining. And we do have like protection from the One Ring. I'm just curious what Joseph's plan is here other than just seeing if a One Ring can get him out of here.
Yeah, the best thing to fight a One Ring is a One Ring for yourself.
I do hear that's a great combination right there.
It's like Orcish Bowmaster. What's better than an Orcish Bowmaster? A second Orcish Bowmaster.
Orcish Bowmaster, target your Orcish Bowmaster.
You play a One Ring, I play a One Ring. It
Man,
should be like has anyone said this that the One Ring should have like the old Planeswalker rules where if you have a One Ring and you play it or and your opponent plays one, it kills yours.
I haven't heard that one, but
It's like old legendary rules.
that'd be kind of cool
So
to see
like you
them
could
bring
only have
back.
one Jace Planeswalker,
I
and if your
wonder
opponent played one, you lost yours.
that'd be really cool to see if they could implement it.
I
Uh,
think that might be a fun house rule. I don't know if it would be too popular of a change for all of the modern format.
I kind of like the idea of there's a commander card that's 6 mana that when it enters the battlefield, it's Coveted Jewel. So when it enters, you draw
Mm-hmm.
3 cards, and then if a player attacks you, you gain control of that artifact, and then you then
Mm.
get that value too. So then you just start stealing the One Ring from each other. I think that'd be a cool way of doing it too.
Yeah, kind of King of the Hill or oh, not King of the Hill. It's more like Capture the Flag. Um, yeah, that'd be fun. We could play a commander game like that. Be pretty powerful in my deck. I don't think anyone would want to steal the ring from me though, because I play Nekuzar. So use it
I
at
don't,
your own risk.
I don't know. Drawing cards is
The
one
best game action.
one of my favorite things to do.
I think both these players agree. We did see that ring come down from Joseph, so we got 2 opposing rings. Lots of cards to be drawn. I think there's still some good game play left in this one as well. Charlie up to 5 lands now to Joseph 6. Life totals 13 to 9 in Charlie's favor as well.
And one notable thing to see here is Charlie isn't able to attack for lethal because of the protection from the One Ring, and Joseph drew a consign to memory, trying to decide is it worth just countering it? Are we going to do the I don't remember what exact term it is. It's not kicker, but paying the
Replicate.
replicate. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to counter it twice, so there's not a possibility of it getting spell pierced, or
Ooh.
if we're going to force it, that way Charlie isn't able to recast it with a um, underworld breach. But it does look like we're going to replicate it to make sure it doesn't get
Mm-hmm.
spell pierced.
Double counter it.
Oh yeah, that spell is not resolving, but this underworld breach might.
Yeah, he's tapped out, and we know that Joseph has the force in hand, but he just used the blue card he had.
Oh no! So Charlie's now gonna get so much value. I
So much
believe
value.
I believe that. Oh no! And because there wasn't force and it was consigned to memory, it goes to graveyard, so we just can
Mm-hmm.
recast it. And now we have shown a loop. We have this uh, Mox Amber in the
Mm-hmm.
graveyard now, so we're able to cast Mox Amber, untap the grinding station, um, and then sacrifice the Mox Amber. We were able to start making blue mana. The question now is, how are we actually going to win the game? Because I don't believe there's another win con aside from that Thassa's Oracle that we already exiled.
I think it's got to be creature beats at this point.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Charlie does here. I'm not sure what the game plan is, and it looks like Charlie's still kind of thinking about it too. Most likely just casting a bunch of spells and getting some value.
Yeah, see what this second Emery can flip over. Emery, Urza Saga, Tameo, Malevolent Rumble.
All right, and hopefully we'll be able to see some of the cards that Charlie fans out for us.
I see lots of blue cards in there. So stuff to use his mana on for sure. I think this is a kind of figure out as you go deck, right? You just draw the cards and see what the best line is, which is a really hard kind of deck for me. I like a slightly more linear game plan, maybe a little more, toolboxy deck is okay, but this one seems like it takes an experienced player to pilot correctly.
I agree, and it's one of those things where I was never the greatest at playing this deck either because there's so many lines, and a lot of times I get so focused on the combo that I don't go for the creature
You
beatdowns.
sort of tunnel vision.
Exactly.
Mm.
And there's so many times where you just need to be able to balance the difference between those two and find the right opening. And it takes a lot of experience and a lot of practice to be able to determine what kind of role you need to take in any given matchup.
Mm-hmm. I think Charlie is, well, we know that Charlie's an experienced player, or at least a good player, because, like I said earlier, he is qualified for champs. Going to do a damage to, going to pass the turn after all of that. Replayed an Emery, played out a Tameo. has that Mox Amber, ring on 2. We'll go to Joseph's turn. He's got his ring on 2, down to 4 off the bird encounters. Versus Charlie, a grip full of cards and a lot of permanents.
Yeah, and one thing that's really notable is Tameo with the One Ring. We're going to
Ooh.
be able to untap, draw 3 cards, and then flip the Tameo and just
Mm-hmm.
get some value from Planeswalkers, which I don't know if there's a whole lot of removal for it in Joseph's deck right now.
Maybe beats or bolts with a flage or null drifter.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going
A
to be mainly
subtlety
beatdowns.
before it comes down on the board.
Yeah.
Or after. Subtlety can turn sideways too. We'll
Ooh.
see that flage again from Joseph. See if it sticks around a little bit longer than it did last time. We'll send the damage at the Emery. Some very important life gain as well. We'll bring him up to 7.
Yeah, and then we're going to be able to attack with the Flage, bolt the Tameo, and the Construct's only a 5/5 right now. So that means that I won't be able to block. It gets us up to 10 life, and this might be the turning point that Joseph needed.
Charlie got a lot of value, but not able to interact with Joseph at all on his turn. Will he take some time to set up well for himself? Up to 10 now on the Flage attack. Charlie's board a little clearer now, excuse me. Bring him down to 7. Joseph with the life total gain, now in the lead. Shock down to 8, still in the lead. Lots happen in this game. This is definitely 2 decks that like to do a lot of things. Definitely not a 1 spell per turn kind of deck. We'll send a Prismatic Ending at the grinding station. Oh my goodness.
And then Grinding Station sacrifice itself to mill us some cards. That way we can still cast it off of our Emeries and our Underworld Breaches. But at this point, I think Joseph might be taking the lead on it.
Well, I did see something in Charlie's hand. He's definitely not out of it yet. He's got 2 more One Rings in his hand. So that will probably help him out a little bit there. Gonna get some more value off of this one first, though. Down to 5 off the bird encounters. We'll draw 3 now in his main phase.
And I see another Unholy Heat, which says remove target Flage, put it back in the graveyard. And these One Rings might be able to stall some extra turns that Charlie needs.
I was pointing out very aptly, Charlie's closer to decking than dying to combat damage at this point. I don't. It's really rough in the commentary booth to see how many cards he's got left, but we obviously see both these large exile and graveyard piles here.
I mean, we know that there's at least 24 cards in exile from Charlie due to us casting Mishra's Bauble 5 times that one turn, and then we casted a couple more spells with the second Underworld Breach. So I would say that we're probably sitting under 20 cards in deck, probably closer to 10. Ooh, Shifting Woodlands is a cool card in this deck.
It is a cool card. We talked about it a little bit last week, an Amulet Titan deck. What's it do? What's it grabbing in this one? Looks like the grinding station.
Yeah.
So it animates a card in your graveyard, correct?
So in this deck, or Shifting Woodlands allows it to change into another permanent that's inside of your graveyard if you have Delirium. So that means that if Charlie desired to just pay 4 mana, create it as a grinding station, so the land is then a grinding station.
Yeah.
And then whenever you cast your artifacts, but it looks like Charlie just scooped them up.
Whoa.
It looks like early or middle of the game when we exiled the Thassa's Oracle, that was the turning point. We decided to draw some more cards and.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Charlie was sure doing a whole lot that game to end it in a scoop when I thought he still had some life left in him. He didn't cast either of those One Rings in his hand. Instead, tried to take some other lines that ended up not working out for him. We'll go to sideboards and check out some deck lists here. Which one do you want to see first?
This Temur Breach deck, I'm curious
I gotcha.
if there's some more win cons for us. But the one thing about Temur Breach is the main beatdowns really only come from Urza Saga because we're playing Mox Amber. As it looks like a 3 of in here, we're kind of trying to utilize our legendary creatures as ways for us to accumulate mana. But looking at the sideboard, we see that we have 4 Consigned to Memory, 2 Veil of Summer, 3 what in the world? Whip Flare?
What's that card? I don't think I know what that does.
I'll be honest, I don't either.
We can pull it up
Yeah.
in game 2. No worries.
Let's go ahead and pull that one up. It says Whip Flare deals 2 damage to each non-artifact creature. So I don't think it comes in here.
I think it's for the energy matchup. That sounds like an energy card. It's a Pyroclasm, basically.
Yeah.
Is what I heard.
It's Pyroclasm, but doesn't hit.
Your creatures, maybe?
Yep, it doesn't hit non-artifact creatures.
Oh, so it saves the
artifact creatures.
constructs.
Yep, it
And
saves
Emery's a
constructs.
X3, right?
It's an X2.
Oh, it is an X2.
But Tamio is an X3, and then it also won't hit Haywire Mites.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how relevant the Haywire Mite one is, but it looks like we also have 2 Force Negations, 2 Mystical Disputes, Pithy Needle, and Soul Guide Lantern.
Jared says it's Corey Baumeister's tech, the Whip Flares.
Yeah, Corey Baumeister is definitely a great player. Plays a lot of breaches. So I trust what he tells me. But for this matchup, I think we're going to be bringing in some more counter magic, kind of just letting our creatures stay in play. So my guess is we're bringing in a couple of those Mystical Disputes, probably the Soul Guide Lantern to be able to exile those Phlages that we saw. But I'm not 100% sure what we take out here. Aside from just trimming on combo cards. But
we gotta look at Joseph's deck real quick.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at Just Guy.
I did tell him he did only submit 56 cards in his main deck, but the full sideboard's there, so we can talk about that real quick.
Yeah, so we see the 2 subtleties, Charmaws. Well, you can see what's in the sideboard, but I think the main things we bring in are just going to be the 2 Soul Guide Lanterns, and then possibly the Mystical Disputes to try and interact with the pieces of the combo where we're able to interact with the Tamio and the Emerys. But it's definitely kind of awkward with most of the combo cards being red or colorless. But we're getting into it, and we start the turn 1 with a Tamio, which is probably our best turn 1 play from Charlie.
We didn't see it last game until much later, and we didn't get to see her flip at all. So perhaps she'll play a little bit of a bigger role in this game. Go to Joseph's first turn here. We'll just play a land and pass. Probably going to see that a little bit from both our players in the starting turns. Interaction. A plenty in both their hands.
Yeah, and the cool part about Tamio in this deck is we can attack, make an artifact, which helps us reduce our Emery costs. And we see it here where Emery's going to cost 2 mana. And it's still super early, so we don't have the counterspell mana from Joseph.
Flips over 2 lands, a Malevolent Rumble, and a Haywire Mite off the Emery.
Ooh, the Haywire Mite's going to be super, super good for us. Being able to exile the One Rings, which is what saved Joseph last game.
All right, into Joseph's turn here. He did win game 1. I almost just asked you what he needs to do to win game 2 here, but I think the question still stands because it seems like Joseph did just enough to win. Maybe he can take a little bit more proactive thing, or does he still just hang back and let Charlie try and put the pressure on him first?
I think it's still the case where you hang back, you kind of tell Charlie, hey, you have to do something, you have to put enough threats on the board, because this Jeskai Dress Down deck is pretty good against the construct tokens. A lot of times, breach decks want to be just filling the board with construct tokens because it's hard for control decks to be able to beat the multiple Urza Sagas. But when you're board wipe for constructs, say wipe all constructs, draw a card, and then allow you to be able to just cast your Null Drifter and kind of ignore the Evoke, ignore the sacrifice of Flage, makes the Jeskai Dress Down deck a lot more aggressive and be able to interact a lot better with what Charlie is doing here.
We'll see a sideboard card come down for Joseph in this Soul Guide Lantern. He's going to go immediately for that Haywire Mite that Emery milled over, which is going to be a very strong attack on Charlie's game plan here of recurring that and getting value. I'm seeing a couple of cards in Charlie's hand right now. Force Negation, Station, Mystical Dispute. In Joseph's hand, I believe I see a One Ring. Go to attacks with Tamio.
Attacking with that Emery for 1
and
damage.
The Emery as well. Send a message.
Oh, yeah.
I ain't afraid of you.
And then we see the Urza Sagas. It looks like we're going to be trying to game more towards the combo. As we saw, the construct plan just didn't work out last game.
Ooh, it's going to get Force Negation, pitch Consign, which is a strong card to
Ooh.
pitch. It will, in turn, get Mystically Disputed, so the station will resolve.
And that's really big for Charlie, because if it got forced, that meant that it couldn't be returned with the Emery next turn. It gets exiled forever. So that was a
Forever.
really forever.
Is he playing any cards?
I don't believe
Doesn't
he
have
got
to be
those.
forever.
That's true.
But it probably is in this deck.
I'm kind of curious if Karn would ever be good in this style of deck, though, in a Temur Breach deck.
They play a lot of artifacts.
They play a lot of artifacts, and with One Ring being so prevalent right now, just turning off opposing One Rings. That's kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah, you'll have to pick Charlie and Corey's brains for that. You got them in the DMs there?
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely have Corey at least.
Yeah, I heard you were hanging out with some big names this weekend too, over in RCDC.
Yeah, I was hanging out with Doomwake, super cool guy, and I got to borrow his deck for the main side event, which was the Pioneer 10K.
Main side event, I dig that.
Yeah, it had almost 550 players in it.
I mean, a 10K is nothing to sneeze at, and 550 players? That's crazy.
a
No
10
wonder you had to
round.
play so many rounds. Oh my gosh.
But
And how'd you do in that event? Might I ask?
I ended up playing the 10 rounds and went 8-1-1, top 8'd, and then ended up top 4ing the events, which was really exciting, especially after never playing the deck that I have played.
Which was?
The Rakdos Cauldron deck that also won the RC.
It won the main event as well.
So it was really cool that I was able to play that. But looking at what Charlie's doing right now,
Let's head back to Modern. That's Pioneer.
Yeah, we ended up drawing the green source, which is huge because we do have a Veil of Summer in hand. And we see Mishra Bobble played from hand. Emery returned it. So we're going to draw 2 cards on the upkeep. And let's see, what else do we do? I think we might have grabbed the Mishra's Bobble from the first Urza Saga. So that's going to allow us to get some good card advantage going. I'm curious when Charlie's going to decide that they want to flip this Tamiyo.
It's an optional trigger, right?
It's I believe it's optional after drawing your 3rd card.
In a turn, yeah.
Yeah. And with these clue tokens, the Mishra's Bobble, it's going to make it really easy for us to do so.
Dress Down came down at end step for Joseph, though. Back on his turn, 4 mana. Evoking a Null Drifter is how much?
3 mana.
3, okay.
And it looks like we have Flage and a second Soul Guide Lantern in hand.
Oh, my bad. Jared says it's not optional. Let me pull it up on the screen for folks real quick. She's got a lot of text on her.
Yeah. Let's see here. When you draw your 3rd card in a turn, exile and return it to the battlefield. All right. So it looks like when Charlie desires, we're able to crack the bobble.
It's optional in that you can choose when to draw your third card with the clues. Sorry. On Joseph's turn, still we're playing out this Flage. Looks like we're thinking a bit.
Yeah, and with the Dress Down in play, it means that we do not get the ETB trigger.
Oh, that's what I was waiting for. I was like, where's he sending the damage?
But it also means that we don't have to sacrifice it. So now it's just going to sit and play and tell Charlie that right now there has to be a Unholy Heat, or it's going to be scary next turn.
I think it's exactly Unholy Heat because he has no more Karnstruck tokens. He could make one here as he ticks over to 3rd chapter.
And it looks like we drew 2 cards. If we wanted, we could flip the Tamiyo here as well. We drew 2 cards already. We can flip with the clue token. And if I remember correctly, we can -3 the Tamiyo to return an instant or a sorcery card. And if we have that Unholy Heat in our graveyard, oh, it looks like we're just exiling it with Soul Guide Lantern.
Okay, with the trigger on the stack, Charlie will Boseiju the Soul Guide Lantern first, and then go to resolve it. In response, Joseph will eat another card out of Charlie's graveyard.
Ooh, I wonder if we have the Underworld Breach in hand right now. Let's see. We have the Mox Amber, so
grab off of the 3rd chapter Urza Saga.
Oh, man. I'm still excited to see what's in the hand right now. We got Veil of Summer, Force of Negation. And it looks like we're going to be sacrificing a clue token, and then we have the untapped trigger of Mox Amber on the stack, which is one of those really cool lines that pops up. So
House really thinks he has breach in hand as well. I don't see it though.
yeah, I don't see a breach there. But the cool part is we do have the shifting woodland, so we can just play that as land per turn. Enters untapped because we have the stomping ground, and we're able to hold up our Veil of Summer.
Notably though, because Charlie's played 2 Urza Saga, he's sitting on only 2 lands right now. He's already tapped one of them to Boseiju this turn. So just a blue and a land drop available to him.
And there we go. We got our Tamio flipped. And that's going to be able to possibly slow down the Flage just a little bit.
Let me see if I can get the backside of Tamio on the card search here.
Yeah, this
Ooh, neat.
this
Okay.
is definitely looking a little rough. Flage is definitely going to be able to start beating down. And Tamio is really good at dealing with a lot of small creatures, but isn't as great with one giant creature. As it says, it gives all attacking creatures that -1, -0.
Yeah, it doesn't do too much to a Flage here. I think 6/6 is about as big as the creatures you see in Modern, excepting the Eldrazi lists. Don't
Eh,
think they get too much bigger than
we
that.
get Murktide Regent. That thing's a big dragon.
Oh, I was thinking, sorry, I guess I didn't account for the usual PT of Murktide, just the printed
But
stats
yeah,
there.
6/6 is pretty much the biggest that we'll see in most deck lists.
Perfect number to Unholy Heat. I remember when Unholy Heat was first printed, and I was like, oh my god, I can kill prime times now.
I was so devastated because I was the primetime player,
I'm sure.
and that card single-handedly made me stop playing the card.
Oh no.
And then I completely stopped playing when Dress Down started picking up in popularity with the Grixis Death Shadow.
Joseph will go to combat here with the Flage. Attack trigger will clean up the Emery, bring life totals to 18 all.
And then it looks like we just hit the Tamio, which in turn did gain Charlie net.
Gain, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Dom likes to say that a lot when a planeswalker will gain you life, hypothetically or technically.
Because that's damage that's not going to face.
Exactly.
So it's how I try and look at it, especially when I'm playing against Burn. Like,
oh yeah.
you just got to take all those small increments of damage and be like, I gain this much life. Makes me feel better about it, too.
Charlie will fetch shock.
Ooh. I wonder if we floated. No, it looks
Fetch
like
shock
we might
for
just
a
be drawing a
breeding
card.
pool? Wait.
Oh, we might be cracking the clue to try and find another blue card to force a negation this prismatic ending.
That is a breeding pool, right?
It sure
it's the
is.
retro one. That's why it looks funny.
Oh, yeah, it's that beautiful retro foil.
Oh yeah.
It does look like we are cracking the clue, and it drew another Veil of Summer.
Ooh.
And those Veil of Summers are kind of just rotting in hand as Joseph hasn't been playing a lot of blue cards to counter stuff right now.
No, he's playing red-white spells and colorless spells. Here's another Soul Guide Lantern. Grabs Charlie's, or asks for Charlie's graveyard there.
Not a lot of artifacts by the looks of it, so.
We'll just go for an Emery.
But Joseph drawing both Soul Guide Lanterns is brutal for Charlie here.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're just kind of relying on the top of the deck. And we drew a One Ring.
Ooh, that's a
and
good one.
We
But
have the 4th land in hand, so.
wait, he does?
Yeah, we have the Shifting Woodlands. And
Oh,
it
right.
looks like we had a Scalding Tarn in the back of the hand. It's kind of hard to see, but we did. Let's go.
Good eyes there.
All right, so now I'm just curious. Are we tapping out for the One Ring, leaving it open for the Consign? It looks like Charlie's being patient.
Yeah, just the one blue mana open for Joseph in that turn, but that's all I need to cast a Consign to Memory. Charlie will pass back with all 4 mana open, plus a Mox Amber.
I do like the respect because we do have the 5th land in hand, which allows us to be able to cast the One Ring plus Veil of Summer, the possibility of it.
I think that's a much better line.
So that's definitely giving the respect it deserves. But we're paying 5 mana, and we're going to haste out a Solitude.
Wow. Okay, that is an aggressive play from a control player. I don't know, does Jeskai Dress Down count as a control list? I would think so.
I would count as control. Like, its game plan is countering your stuff, attacking. Like, attacking with incremental value.
I mean, I call Joseph. I forgot to put his rank. I forgot to tell everyone. Joseph is number 2 on the leaderboard right now, alongside our other 2 control players, George and Tepper. Right?
Yeah.
I just had this up a second ago.
And spoiler alert, George is playing a deck that's way more based than control.
It's
I absolutely
Kai.
loved it.
Kai's in 3rd place with him.
Is
Tepper's
Kai,
a little further down.
is Kai normally play normal control or is it Bluetron?
Kai plays. I mean, Kai always plays blue, right? Today he's playing Wizards, I believe.
Oh, I'm excited to see Wizards at some point if Kai's doing well. That deck is able to value like Flame of Anor. It's super interesting, a lot of awesome lines. But we see a Tamio off the top here. Just trying to
That
bring it
doesn't
back.
do much.
I'm not sure what the game plan is other than just cast One Ring and see what happens.
Yep, cast the One Ring with Veil Protection. Joseph's tapped out and Hellbent, so no need. But he's still got that mana available if he wants to do something else. We'll tap the One Ring immediately, gain protection from everything.
Yeah, and next turn we're going to be able to cast Tamio, flip it immediately if there's something that we desire in our graveyard.
Joseph's been picking through it a bit with that Soul Guide Lantern, with
Yeah.
both Soul Guide Lanterns.
I'm just not sure how Charlie gets back from this position other than chaining a bunch of One Rings, drawing a bunch of cards.
I was going to say, the One Ring's got to dig him out of this.
And every single One Ring is 1 more point of damage.
Indeed, he'll tick down to 2 here. Draw an Urza Saga. That doesn't do too much.
All right, so
It's his 3rd one of the game.
I think we're going to just have to draw 2 cards with the One Ring and hope that it's good enough.
Charlie agrees.
All
Let's
right.
see what he draws. A 4th Urza Saga and another land. Oh my gosh.
I'm not seeing anything right here.
I'm not seeing anything either.
We're just going to give a quick look to the graveyard, see what's there.
If someone can find it, it's Charlie, though.
Yeah, Charlie's an amazing player. The surgical extraction play at the last event blew my mind.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
It looks like there wasn't an out here. And Joseph takes it down in 2 games.
All right, our number 2 seed on the leaderboard takes down the future Energy Champs competitor in our first feature match of the day. Our backup match, for folks asking in chat, where's George? He was on that backup match, but looks like this match took just a little bit longer, so we didn't get to check it out. We're going to head into a quick break, but before we do, let's talk about the Energy series.
Ooh, that's like one of my favorite subjects.
I love the Energy series. So funny you mention it.
But what's the next event for Energy?
It's our double showdown weekend, very last event of the year before the championship event. So this is your last chance to qualify, whether you want to spike the event or you're in that points race. Of course, Taylor Swift had to have her way, booked up all of Indy, so we've rescheduled it, or not rescheduled, but we've moved it. Same dates as before, but now it's in Elmhurst, so a little bit closer to home, a little bit less traveling for most of our players, so hopefully they appreciate that, and much cheaper hotels than what Indy was going for.
I don't know. I was pretty excited about a $500 hotel. But
Oh, look, Nikachu says, I also love the Energy series. Speaking of Energy Champs, but first, before we can get to the championship event, we do have to get that last event underway. If you win our showdown, you can join Nikachu and Charlie in Energy Champs, $35,000, 24 players, $10,000, and a Pro Tour invite to first place, and lots of other money to win as well from our other competitors. But of course, everyone wants to go home with that first place prize. Before you can do that, though, if you win those showdowns, you got to battle through all of the local players, and if you come out successful, you get a custom token from Inkling Customs. Of course, get that big paycheck. What was the other thing? And an invite to the RC.
yeah, invite to the RC. You
We are a
get-
destination event, so you do qualify for the RC as well. But yeah, lots of points, prizes, money on the line. Super excited. I'm going to be there working the event. Chris, are you playing?
Oh, I definitely will be. Double showdown, 2 chances of queuing.
We know Pioneer and Modern are your strengths, so seems like some good formats for you as well. The Champs structure was also announced, so I know people have been checking that out. Lots of good Magic to be had. We're going to head into a quick break, though. I think I'm rambling a bit here. We'll be right back, folks. See you soon. Welcome back, folks, to round 2 here at Nerd Rage Gaming. We're in Modern League Week 6, and we got my usual co-commentator in the feature match area. Chris, tell us what we're watching.
Looks like we have Naya Energy combo versus Sultai Infect. This seems like it's going to be a fun one to watch. I was looking at Dom's deck list before we got started, and it's the Boros Energy deck, and we also have the Safi combo. That combo is going to revolve around Safi, which is a 2-mana creature where you can sacrifice it, and when you sacrifice your next creature, you return, or when your next creature dies, you will return it to the battlefield. We have it on screen for you right now. You also are playing Renegade Rallier, which is going to have Revolt, so when a permanent leaves the battlefield, it enters the battlefield, return target permanent with CMC 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield.
I don't know how to spell renegade. I can't pull this card up.
No worries. You also have Extraction Specialist, which does pretty much the same thing for this combo, where you're just returning your Safi. And then any sack outlet is going to allow you to do infinite sacrifices, whether it's sacrifice triggers, death triggers, or as we see in Dom's deck list, and in the hand right now, we have Goblin Bombardment, which is sacrifice a creature, deal 1 damage to any target. And then on David's side, we have Bug Infect, Sultai Infect, and it looks like we're just going as fast as we can with the turn 2 Phyrexian Crusader, a 2/2 first strike, infect, protection from red and whites, which is going to be a very, very key card here versus the energy deck that plays a lot of red and white creatures. So there's not going to be a lot of blocking from Dom's side here. I don't know if we have any removal pieces for this card in our deck. It looks like Dom's kind of taking a look through too. I'm curious how Dom's gonna be able to deal with this one here.
Yeah, David's already got the infect token out on the field, or the poison counter rather. He's ready to go to work. Only got to count to 10. Seems easier than 20.
Especially with Phyrexian Crusader and Exalted triggers from the Ignoble Hierarch.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be 1 or 2 pump spells, and it's going to be GG.
Dom will have a few turns before he's dead, though. We'll start his second turn with an Amped Raptor. Trigger Guide of Souls up to 3 mana, and we'll hit an Ocelot Pride. Assigned one at that.
Yeah, Ocelot Pride is going to be a big part here. Looks like we're just shuffling the deck here because we accidentally flipped an extra card over. And that's just going to be the normal judge fix. When we have a flip card, any known cards are going to stay there. And then the rest will go shuffle it into your deck. So it's fully randomized as it should be. And then it looks like we're just going to be gaining some life, gaining some energy going. And Dom's just trying to play to the board as fast as possible because that's the only thing you can really do versus this Phyrexian Crusader.
Yeah, usually the little bit of life gain is nice from the Guide of Souls. Not going to matter too much against an Infect deck. I don't think Dom's deck brought in stuff or has stuff specifically for Infect, but he might have some stuff to work with in his sideboard. We'll take a look at that in between games as he pulls out cool little pilot token. I don't know. I think that's the cat token.
Oh, no, that's a Steven. Oh, yeah, it's a cat token.
It's supposed to be a cat, but it is.
The Steven Dykman pilot token.
Mm-hmm.
Big shout outs to him. It looks like we're just going to get as aggressive as possible with more exalted creatures. And this Phyrexian Crusader's crashing in for 4 infects.
Ooh.
That's going to be a pretty quick clock. And
there you go. Yeah, get the green die for Infect. That's flavorful.
I'm trying to figure out what this other card is on the battlefield. It's Plague Stinger. Looks like it has Flying and Infect.
I'm trying to figure out what makes this deck Naya. I haven't seen any green cards yet.
It's the Safi and the Renegade Rallier.
Oh, right. You talked about it. I'm sorry. I forgot already.
No worries. The other cool part about the combo is if we have the Guide of Souls in play, that gives us infinite energy, infinite life. And we do have the Goblin Bombardment, which is going to allow us to sacrifice these cat tokens on our end step or whenever to kill the Hierarchs and be able to remove the Plague Stinger from play.
This is old Infect. It's not toxic, so it does scale with power and toughness. So cleaning up the Ignoble Hierarch would slow the clock a little bit for Dom and David. Just sitting at 2 lands, though, it doesn't look like he's going to hit his 3rd land drop. I'm also trying to figure out what this printing of Goblin Bombardment is.
Oh, it's the Tempest version.
Oh, very cool.
It's going to just be catapulting goblins at the opposing army.
Someone put a Plague Stinger in chat. Yeah, it's just a flying Infect 1/1 for 2.
That's pretty sweet. I haven't seen anyone playing that card.
I haven't seen anyone playing any of these cards on David's side of the field. Maybe the Iggy. I think that's about it.
Oh, I remember playing that Phyrexian Crusader when Elementals was the big deck and everyone was playing 4 Solitude, 4 Fury. Because Phyrexian Crusader doesn't die to either of those and just starts crashing in because it has protection from red and white.
Well, seems good.
It was Energy Lancing a year and a half ago that I did that.
We haven't been back to Michigan since. We gotta switch that up for 2025.
I hope so. It's my hometown, home state.
Yeah, should we have one in your actual hometown in Michigan?
Oh, I would love that. Then I can just stay at my parents' place, not have to spend money on a hotel.
Ooh.
But we're crashing in for some big damage here.
Oh yeah, David's down to 10 now, with Dom at 21 and 4 poison.
And it looks like Dom has the removal strategy for the Phyrexian Crusader online right now. The best kind of creature removal is player removal. So it looks like that's the plan here.
I don't know. Is he going to get another turn? I feel like David's got ways to give. He did 4 last time. 6 doesn't seem like that much harder.
Yeah, but
although
right now
the Noble Hierarch will get cleaned up.
And then we'll be able to clean up more Hierarchs and the Stinger if desired. So
Exalted does stack.
It looks like the main thing that David needs here is going to be scale up, which is going to allow us to deal that extra 6 point of infect damage. For anyone that isn't aware of scale up, it is just turning the creature. We drew the scale up.
Oh my god! I thought you just meant like in
The Phyrexian Crusader
I
is
didn't think you
not.
meant the actual card scale up. Wow.
Oh
What a
man,
prediction there.
that's a 6/4
That's why you bring in the
protection from
expert guest
red.
commentary. I love to see it,
Oh
man. What a call.
man. Oh, say his name and it appears. And I don't know if Dom has a way of dealing with it.
He's
That's
tapped
lethal.
out. Yeah.
Oh man, what a top deck there for David.
Oh my
Just cleaning him
goodness.
up.
Dom tried his very best to do everything. He had David nearly dead to rights. David draws the scale up and takes game one. We'll head into sideboards and we'll look at David's deck first.
All right. So it looks like the blue is mainly just for the Blighted Agent, and we do have the Venerated Rot Priest, which is a really cool ad that we see here. But looking at the sideboard, we have some extra blue cards and Consign to Memory, Spell Pierce, and the Suspend. I'm not 100% sure what all we will be wanting to bring in versus the creature aggressive deck, aside from the Abrupt Decays. We might see a couple spell skites just to redirect the Galvanic Discharge and Static Prison effects to the spell skite instead of the infect creatures. But it looks like David is going to be in a good place if we just try and get one of our 2 copies of Phyrexian Crusader on the battlefield. But I don't see a whole lot else that we would want to be bringing in this matchup aside from just the Abrupt Decays and the spell skites.
All right, that's the plan for David. We'll take a look at Dom's deck list as well. I'm unsure if we're having software trouble or if he submitted a 56 card deck, or main board rather, but we'll see all that he's working with here.
So it looks like we are running pretty much just the normal Boros Energy deck, and as mentioned earlier, has the combos. It looks like we have 3 copies of Birthing Ritual, which is really interesting. This deck list looks super sweet. 1 of Flage in the main deck, but just looking at the sideboard here, we got the 3 Haywire Mites, 3 White Orchid Phantoms, 2 Bone Crushers, Skyclave Apparition, Orange Chant, and the new Ghost Vacuum, which is a really cool one here. Versus Infect, I assume we're just going to be bringing in possibly the Haywire Mites. I don't, there's not a whole lot here to be able to deal with the scary threat of Phyrexian Crusader. So maybe we just kind of hope that they don't have it. The only thing I can really see is Ghost Vacuum exiling some cards and throwing creatures out there, but it looks like we're just kind of soft to the very common Phyrexian Crusader that's in every deck list right now. But we might just be bringing in the 2 Bone Crusher Giants to deal with the other infect creatures, the Glistener Elf, Blighted Agents, and some of the Dorks.
Oh, chat's figured it out. It's missing the Saphies in the list. The software.
Ooh.
For some reason, it doesn't want to pull that up.
It's because the card's too old. I get it.
Because the card's too old, sure. What if I just type it in? I think I can get it fixed that way. Keep going. We're shuffling up here. You're doing great.
So the really cool part about this deck list is the Birthing Ritual allowing us to go 2-drop into our 3-drop slot, being Extraction Specialist and the Renegade Rallier. So when we sacrifice those 2 drops, we're just bringing them right back with the Extraction Specialist, Renegade Ralliers.
Aha!
And then that's going to, if we sacrifice our Amped Raptor with our Birthing Ritual, then we get another Amped Raptor trigger. I believe, let's see here. I don't think it says cast from hand. I believe it's just, oh, it does say cast from hand. Never mind. I lied to y'all. I'm sorry about that. But it does let our Johnny trigger again. If we sacrifice that, bring it back, and we are back in here with game number 2. And it looks like we're mulliganing from David's side, which makes sense. Phyrexian Crusader is just that good. And we see the opening hand.
You think he's just going to mull to that card?
Honestly,
there aren't other keepable hands?
Like, there's some keepable hands, but when you have a card that just says, I win the game, like, there's no way for you to deal with it.
That's fair. What did Dom flash at us?
It looks like it was 4 lands. We got Colors of All Mana. We got Sacred Foundry. We had Temple Garden. Looks like we had a Surveil land and a Basic Mountain, as well as our Ocelot Pride for our turn 1 play, turn 2 Birthing Ritual, and I think I saw a Johnny, but I don't remember for sure what that last card is. And I see a Phyrexian Crusader. It looks like it's going to be a keep here. I don't know. It looks like there's a land and a Ink Moth. So we got 2 lands, Phyrexian Crusader. Looks like a keep to me.
All right, Gigantha's been revealed as a companion, and the poison counter is out. We're ready to go. Turn 1 will be that Ocelot Pride.
Yeah, Ocelot Pride being one of the key components for these energy decks, just being able to flood the battlefield. And it looks like we drew a Snakeskin Veil from David's side. I'm not 100% sure how relevant that's going to be in this game. It looks like we did bring in those Shaper's Sanctuary, which is pretty interesting. Worried about
Ooh, I
some
played that in my
removal.
Pioneer sideboard.
It's a really cool
I
card.
mean, the snake scale and the snake skin rather, and the Shaper Sanctuary makes me think that David is expecting a lot of removal from Dom. But we'll see how much he's actually able to find here.
Yeah, it looks like David is kind of just going for the broad scale plan of there's a bunch of different creatures that we have in our deck that can infect them out, so might as well protect a little bit of everything and not just rely on our one big threat.
Mm-hmm. Shaper or snake skill grows the creature too, so that helps with
Yeah,
infect.
gives a nice +1/+1 counter. And then it also helps our game plan because a lot of times people will wait till after combat to use a removal spell. That way their creature doesn't get bigger. And then by having Snakeskin Veil giving a +1/+1 counter, it allows us to keep that extra pump and be able to deal more damage in the future.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main difference between those two cards.
First spell for David this game will be a Noble Hierarch this time. Back on Dom's turn, he's got a Haywire Mite, a Cat, and an Ocelot Pride will just swing into combat with the Ocelot Pride, take David down to 18 to Dom's 19. Second main will play out one of his lands
Yeah, right now it looks like
in an
Dom
Aether
is
Hub.
giving respect to that Inkmoth Nexus, playing a little bit slow
Mm-hmm.
on just playing to the board. I'm curious if we're just gonna hold up a Snakeskin Veil, but it does look like we did bring in those Haywire Mice, so we have some blockers for the Phyrexian Crusader.
Oh, here comes some of that green splash in the energy
Ooh.
deck. Birthing Ritual will be the big spell of the turn after playing a Haywire Mite out. We'll see if David has any effects before we move to end step. I'll get Birthing Ritual on the screen as well. I know that card has some pretty important text on it.
Yeah, Birthing Ritual is one of my favorite newer cards here, allowing us to look at the top 7 cards, and then we are able to decide after looking at those 7 cards if there's a creature among them that we are interested in. We can sacrifice a creature that's on the battlefield with CMC X or less and put it onto the battle, or X or more, sacrifice that and put that creature onto the battlefield. So if we find a 2-drop here, we can sacrifice our 1-drop. Looks like there's an Amped Raptor, so just kind of curious if we're interested in sacrificing one of these Haywire Mites for a 2/1 blocker that has first strike. But the one thing I'm worried about here is I see the Inkmoth Nexus from David's side.
Mm-hmm.
I see that we had a scale up in hand. That's going to be a lot of infect damage. If there's another land, this game might be over with an Inkmoth Nexus soon.
Yeah, he needs to keep at least one Haywire Mite around then, because that can help clean up the Inkmoth, or maybe keep both around to get around the protection spell even.
With Inkmoth having both flying and it being a creature, Haywire Mite isn't really able to help in that aspect.
It removes a artifact, right?
Haywire Mites.
Yeah.
Let's pull that up onto the screen.
I
real
got you.
quick.
Do you want the alchemy version or the regular version?
The regular
We
one.
can do both apparently.
Because the Haywire Mite says
Oh, it's
exile target
non-creature.
non-creature. So
That's awkward.
it doesn't let us get around it, unfortunately. But David drew a blue source instead of a green source, so that means that we aren't going to be able to. Actually, we can use the blue source to activate the Inkmoth here. Have double green open.
He's got green with the Hierarch
Yeah, it
and the land.
looks like we're just deciding: do we want to play Blighted Agent, or are we just gonna crack in for a lot of infect damage here?
All right, animation for the Inkmoth. Scale up. Dom shakes his head.
Here comes 7.
That's not lethal yet, but it sure it sure seems pretty demoralizing.
And does Dom have a what's the name of the card? A Beseju in the 75?
In the deck? Let me
'cause
see.
That might be a way to deal
He
with it.
does not.
Oof.
Oof. Oof is right.
I'm not sure if there's a way for Dom to be able to deal with this Inkmoth Nexus right now. Aside
Guide of
from-
Souls can get flying eventually, right?
Yeah, and I know that we saw that Galvanic Discharge was in Dom's list.
Sure, that works.
And then we do have the Snakeskin Veil from David's side, so it,
House and chat telling people Phyrexian Crusaders are only $6. Hey, if
Oh,
you're looking to invest in a cheap modern deck, which feels like an oxymoron, maybe you should give Infect a little peek.
yeah, I mean, right now we have Verdant Catacombs at what, $15 a piece?
Yeah,
All those
we've had
fetches.
Modern Horizons 3 brought the mana base prices down a bit, so a little more affordable.
And then Noble Hierarch being reprinted multiple
Oh
times,
yeah.
bringing the price of that. Ignobles are probably like $6. Only thing expensive I can think of might be the
Hold
Ink
on, I
Moth.
think I can pull up his deck list again because it'll just tell you the price of how much it is to build.
I'm
Let's see.
I'm predicting $450 is my
You're
guess.
really close. That's impressive. It's 425.
Oh, let's go. The most expensive card is probably those Ink Moth Nexuses.
It's that and the Misties. Yep.
How much are Misties? 20 bucks?
This has his 3 Misties at 72.45
All right,
total.
so about $24 a piece.
All right, let's see if Dom can dig himself out of this. He's buying Gigantha, which is
Ooh.
certainly something. He's got another Ocelot Pride out. Now we'll go to the Birthing Ritual trigger and see if something can happen there.
Or 6, 8, 10, 11. We do have the City's Blessing, so we're going to get a lot of tokens on the battlefield.
But
So
do any of them fly?
none of them fly, but they do have First Strike.
They do have First Strike.
So it's going to really depend if David has the activation for Ink Moth, the extra 3 damage, and has the desire to go for it here.
Does he want to kill his opponent?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that David needs to respect here. It looks like Dom tapped out, so it's really just going to depend on what we see off the top. Ooh, there's also a chance that Safi and Renegade Rallier will be coming off. I don't see a sacrifice to outlet currently, so I'm not sure if there's anything Dom is able to do with these birthing rituals, but we might be seeing the game coming to a close soon. And then Inkmoth Nexus just getting in the air.
Yeah. We saw Inkmoth a lot last week actually too. Our Hammer player went 4-0. Some incredible plays at the end as well. If you want to check out that VOD, that's on YouTube and Twitch. Don will grab into Johnny from the Birthing Ritual Resolution.
I'm going to get another cat token, lots of triggers, lots of Ocelot Prides. And
oh, he does have a cat token.
that's the 2/1 token.
Oh,
but
there's 2 different kinds of cats being made?
Yeah, the Ocelot Prides make 1/1 cats. The Johnny makes 2/1 cats. It looks like Dom Sharpie the cat token of Hoey to make it a 2/1. And then we also
oh my goodness, look at all these infinite tokens coming out. These are great drawings.
Oh man.
You don't need any dice. It's just I I like Dom's commitment to having as many game pieces as possible.
So if David doesn't kill this turn,
he's got to be dead, right?
It's done. Like there's so many tokens. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 tokens on the battlefield plus 2 Ocelot Prides. That's 12 damage.
There, Dom's like, all right,
Dom
either kill me or let me kill you. Show me what you got.
All right, so we're starting off with the Ink Moth activation.
Yep. Swing.
And us,
what you got?
It's the Snakeskin Veil.
And it's a veil. Oh, man. I don't think there's anything else Dom could have done. Maybe mulligan for something?
The issue with mulliganing is it's just there's nothing that you're really trying to go for. This game, Goblin Bombardment would have been really good, but outside of that, there's not a whole lot aside from racing.
Yeah.
So Dom did pretty much everything I think they could have done to be able to try and win this game.
I mean, he lost by a single turn cycle, right?
Yeah.
Or a single turn.
Single turn made the difference.
All right, well, that'll finish our first match. We'll head into our backup match and see what they're doing over there. We knew they would still be here. It's George and Brian, your favorite control players. I'll go see which game they're in.
All right, we see George here with Golgari Yogmoth. I hear that deck is pretty sweet. And one of my favorite decks of all time. And we have 4-color energy, so it looks like we're just playing the Jeskai control deck, playing some Leyline bindings. And
game 2, Temur 1, game 1.
All right, so it looks like 4-color energy won game 1 here, and we're in game 2. And it looks like we have quite the predicament here for George. There's a One Ring on Brian's side, but there's an Orcish Bowmaster on George's side. So, ooh, I see a Galvanic Discharge to be able to clean up that Orcish Bowmaster soon.
Yeah, no, chat. I don't know what you don't understand. George is a control player, and he's playing a control deck.
Yeah,
So
it's just creature control.
it's creature control,
Like,
life total control.
hey, I see Yawgmoth under that Soul Cauldron. I see Hipatra. Hipatra says, I'm going to wipe your board. That's pretty much just Wrath the Skies plus draw cards. That's even better than normal blue-white control board wipes here.
Yeah, could you imagine if your board wipes drew cards?
I'm pretty sure there's a black...
I think they used to when Beans was legal.
I mean, up the Beanstalk plus
Sunfall, Farewell. Yeah.
That's a lot of card draw. They still do that in Standard.
Yes. Well, not Farewell anymore, but Sunfall, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Sunfall. Play that in Domain.
I lost to that literally yesterday. Was being Sunfall, and then some number of rooms. I couldn't tell you any of them, but I knew they were rooms. They have a lot of text on them. We'll get back though. I was gonna tweet that we were gonna struggle to stay on the modern format, but I think we've done pretty well accepting a couple of things. We'll head back into this modern match though. As Tepper sends a Galvanic Discharge at, I couldn't tell if it was the token or the Bowmaster.
I would assume it was probably the Orcish Bowmaster, and I don't know if George will see it, but there's a really cool line that we can make here where Agatha's Soul Cauldron can eat the Delighted Halfling to make a mana. And then with that mana, we're able to make double black mana to be able to double proliferate with that Yawgmoth if we had cards in hand. But maybe we don't have cards in hand at the moment.
It looks like he's hellbent. Yeah, I don't think he's got any cards in hand.
But it looks like we're making a snake
token. What is that? Is that an ad?
Yeah, it's our snake token for the time being.
I hope that's the flex slot, George. No one scan it.
But, ooh, we got the Court of Calling X equals 3, and that's going to be lethal here. We're just going to go ahead and grab the Geralf's Messenger. ETB deals 2, Undying Trigger. I assume that's what we're going to grab. But pretty much any Undying creature is going to let us draw a bunch of cards if we're not playing the Geralf's Messenger.
I'm trying to pull it up here. How do you spell messenger?
It's going to be
there we go.
MESS. Yeah. Geralf's Messenger, one of my favorite cards in this Golgari Yawgmoth deck. So, enters battlefield tapped. ATB's opponent loses 2 life, and then Undying Trigger. And then with Hipatra, it's going to be acting as that additional Undying creature. And we're going to just draw a lot of cards on the Golgari Yawgmoth side. And it looks like we're going to be going into Game 3. Let's take a look at the sideboards if we have no sideboards right now.
No, because of the backup match, I didn't have time to get them set up. George submitted a list, and it was 2 words. Stock Yawgmoth.
Well, I assume with the sideboard, we have some endurances in there, which is going to allow us to combat the flages that are in the deck, I assume, for the 4-color energy deck. We're also going to have a lot of Orcish Bowmasters, and we're just going to lean more into the flash style from George's side. And from 4-color energy, I assume that's just going to be extra interaction, maybe some graveyard hate, and we're just going to be focusing on removing the creatures on the battlefield and trying to disrupt the combo.
All right, as we get started in Game 3 here, I'll remind folks at home, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that follow button or subscribe button if you're on YouTube. It really helps support us and lets us know that we're doing a good job. We go live every Wednesday at 6:30 for Modern Magic, and we're live every Thursday at 6:30 with Pokemon.
Yeah, and not only does it support, but also lets you remember that the energy store is streaming, so you can tune in as soon as it comes live, get those notifications on, push the bell button if you are on YouTube. That way you are up to date with every single stream that we have here.
Yeah, get those notifications in. Turn 1 plays from both our players will be EE on 1 and Young Wolf.
Oh, my favorite part about Yogg, the Young Wolf beatdown plan.
Young Wheezy gets in for some damage.
Ooh,
and we'll
Orcish
see the Bowmaster.
And George using the control mindset of do it when there's no blue mana available, no spell snares in the future.
Yeah, Tepper played a basic forest as his first land in this game.
And
which
then,
seems crazy in a 4-color energy deck. But he'll grab a Meticulous Archive as his second land, so start to fix his colors a bit there. Still missing that last one, though.
and I assume the last color is going to be red. Ooh, Tune the Narrative going to the bin. Oh, yeah, we mentioned Flage earlier, so I hope it's
And
red.
he had a Galvanic Discharge as well.
That's right, that's right. So George is starting to flood the board a little bit, and we're just going to see what Brian has in store for this board state. There's a chance that we'll see a Wrath of Skies in the next turn or two, be able to clean some of this board up. Just kind of stalling out. I see One Ring. I saw it's a fairy. I saw another land. Looks like Temple Garden and a. Is it Minamo? Is that how you pronounce it?
I've heard both. I've heard Minamo. I've heard Minamo. Probably the second one more
Yeah.
often.
But George is cracking
Oboro.
in.
You could call it Oboro. Isn't
Oboro?
that is that a different card, or
That's a different one.
isn't that the name of the Lord of the Rings style one?
Oh, I have no idea. I know
Or is Oboro just a wholly different
it's
card?
a different land that you pay one, return it to your hand.
Oh, Oloro. Or is that a different one too? Oh gosh.
You're going
Chat-
too much.
Chad, help me out. What's the Minimo that's got a different like Universes Beyond name? I can't remember it. We'll figure it out though. We'll get there.
Ooh, and looking at George's hand, we have the Endurance in there. Oh, there's Torok I see in hand. That's going to be able to force Brian to discard some random cards out of their hand.
It makes sense that you're liking the deck George is playing tonight. He did message you beforehand and ask you which sideboard cards to include.
But just a lot of 1/1s on the battlefield. And Brian really needs to get a Wrath of Skies.
There it is. Thank you, Chatter. Dol Amroth is the Universe Beyond shifted Minimo.
I can't even picture it in my head right now.
It's blue. The art is blue.
Oh, I thought you were saying the land is blue. But I was like, I see that.
We'll see a Walking Ballista come down on the field as well for George. That can be pretty scary paired with some other cards. Brian only casted this EE so far. Ooh, but we'll see a Solitude come down, pitching to Fairy. Clean up your Bowmaster. Thank you very much.
All right, and what are we going to play? I assume One Ring. Yeah, just start drawing some
there you go.
cards.
He's got that Minimo too. Start with just the one though, because he needs the mana to cast the ring first. We'll get to take a turn off from damage as well, from protection. But George gets a turn to set up.
I mean, and there's a world where George can still kill through the One Ring. I believe that George is on Zulaport instead of Blood Artist, so we might not be able to. But if we have Blood Artist, it says to each opponent and not target. So it gets through the One Ring trigger. I believe that I saw the Yogmoth in George's hand. So we are able to draw quite a few cards on George's side.
Does he have a fourth land?
Maybe not. I feel like George probably would have just played the land if it was in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So we might not have that land in George's hand and not able to keep up with the One Ring from Brian's side of the battlefield.
Mm-hmm. Both these players fighting for the lion's share of our prize pool in our league right now. George sitting in that number 1 spot. Tepper in that 7th spot. We're just a little over halfway done with our league. We're doing a little bit of a shorter one so everyone can go home for the holidays. But still lots of prize money to be won. We're getting more than 20 players every single week, so really stacks up.
Yeah, and it's a really cool thing. Just being able to be the top of the leaderboard just is a really good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, was it George or was it Adam that won last season? It was George, wasn't it?
George won the first season.
First season? Okay.
And then Isaac won last season.
Isaac, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I remember George won one of the seasons.
Yeah, I mean, you can see his playmat right there. Modern League champion.
Ooh, I got to start playing in more of these events. Got to get one of those playmats.
Absolutely, man. There's only been 2 given out so far, so they're pretty exclusive right now.
But we see that Agnes Soul Cauldron hit the battlefield from George's side. It's going to be his legendary artifact to combat the One Ring from Brian's side.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool part about Soul Cauldron is it allows you to just cast Yogg, and if there's a counter spell, Agnes Soul Cauldron can just eat it, and be able to turn all the creatures on the battlefield into this Yawgmoth Thran physician.
Oh, you didn't want one yogmoth? How about they're all yogmoths?
And then with the Young Wolf, you're just drawing so many cards.
Oh, you played a Pithy Needle? That's cute. The creature activating is Young Wolf.
Oh, but
How come you didn't name Young Wolf with your Pithy Needle, you fool?
oh,
Depper's not playing that, though. He's on the EE plan. Another Engineered Explosives comes down, this time on 2, but that doesn't do anything for the 2-drops already on the field.
Unless if we decide to crack it in response to Agatha's Soul Cauldron eating
Wait,
something.
now I'm confusing myself. I'm thinking of Chalice. Oh, gosh. It does do something about the stuff on the field. That's exactly what it does. Excuse me.
But it looks like we're just going to eat the Solitude, make one of these creatures a little bit bigger. I assume probably the Walking Ballista. Just get that up there, attack for 2, and then at any point, just shoot the opponent for 2.
You got to interrupt me when I say just truly incorrect stuff on stream, man. You can't let me go on that long.
Understood. But it looks like we have the Walking Ballista shooting Brian for 1, preventing the energy being gained, which is one of the cool synergies with Walking Ballista in this deck. And at some point, we're going to be able to eat the Walking Ballista with the Active Soul Cauldron, which is going to be the time that Brian would want to crack that Engineered Explosives. There's so many different like combo lines that are enabled by this Agatha Soul Cauldron, and that's why Brian has to respect it so heavily. And it's gonna be really interesting to see what George decides to do here. I saw both Yawgmoth Thran Physician in hand to be able to draw some extra cards. I saw Endurance to be able to interact and play at instant speed, be able to grab another Surveil land with this Verdant Catacombs. A lot of different options here, a lot of different lines.
George is used to thinking things through. He plays a lot of control, so doesn't just turn things sideways and go aggro. He definitely thinks stuff through. Gonna go to combat here, though. Brian has no creatures, so they're free to attack.
And I like this, being able to go ahead and activate Soul Cauldron, eat the Walking Ballista, put a counter on a creature, make them a little bit bigger, deal some extra damage. And I assume post-combat, cast this Yawgmoth while we're already tapped out on Brian's side. And just be able to draw a couple cards with this Young Wolf and the Orcish Bowmaster that are on the battlefield. Let's see here. Ooh, I forgot about the Torok that we see in hand. That's good.
Is that kicker? I think someone's paying for kicker right now.
Oh, discard 2 cards at random. I know that there was a Narset in hand.
Ooh, hits the Narset and hits a tune as well.
I think the last card in hand is a land.
Woo. See if we get a glimpse at it right now. Tepper playing cards close to his chest. He gets to draw 3 fresh ones with the ring on his turn. So refills immediately from the double discard.
I'm pretty sure I saw 4 lands and a Solitude in hand.
No way.
Which Solitude does not hit this Torok, as it has protection from a white, and anytime that Brian discards a card, it gets another +1/+1 counter in case if there's any Thought Seizes in George's deck right now.
Yeah, someone needs to clip George playing all these black spells. Has anyone ever seen George DeBoer cast the card Torok Dreadcantor?
All I know is George has played against Torok Dreadcantor.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely been on the field during one of his matches on camera, but it's usually on the opposite side, I'd say.
Oh, I vividly have good memories of it being on my side. Cast it with the Delighted Halfling. Uncounterable.
Ooh.
And now we have a decision on Brian's side. Looks like we're going to go ahead and exile or cast Solitude. I assume the exile effect is going to be targeting the Yawgmoth Thran Physician. And
George will respond and sack some stuff to the Yogg first.
Yeah. Looks like George is going to just sacrifice 2 creatures, put 2 counters on it, draw 2 cards.
Trying to figure out what life total Tepper's at here with all his bird encounters. Can you get a better glimpse at it?
It looks like maybe 12, maybe 8. It kind of looks like 8 to me.
Okay.
But it definitely has a little bit of glare, so I'm not 100% sure.
I know. We've been struggling with the companion app recently.
But
I know George is at 15.
yeah.
I'll go check real quick.
All right, sounds good. Because it's gonna be a big life total, depending on if it's 6, 8, whatever life total it is. This Torok is gonna be attacking for 4. Young Wolf is attacking for 1. All right, so this is an attack for 4 damage. Looks like we're now at 3 life on Brian's side. Tapping the 1 ring, drawing some more cards in the upkeep, trying to figure out a way to stay alive.
Dig, Tepper, dig.
Oh man, drawing 9 cards, trying to find.
I see a wrath.
I don't.
That doesn't work for Torok, right?
Nope.
Oh my
3,
gosh!
4,
Look
5,
at all those lands he's drawn.
7.
Oh wow!
And it looks like the creature beatdown plan from George ended up winning this game.
Tepper had a strong start with that first engineered explosives. The 1 ring couldn't put the pieces together fast enough to survive the creature beatdown from George. Our number 1 seed will advance to 2-0 on the night, and we'll head into round 3 after a quick ad. Folks, if you need Magic cards for your next event, head on over to nerdragegaming.com. We have tens of thousands of singles in stock. And not just Magic, we have Pokemon, Digimon, One Piece, Lorcana, Union Arena, and Flesh and Blood. We have 7 different TCGs in stock right now on our website. I think we're working through some syncing issues, so some of them might be on our TCG Player Pro page. You can find that at nrg.tcgplayerpro.com. But we have so many great cards that we'd love to get into your hands. We ship countrywide. We have a rewards program. You can get them delivered to you at the Energy Series events as well. I'm listing more cards every day, so if there's not something in stock right now, add to your wish list and get notified as soon as me or one of the other inventory people list those cards. We'll be right back with round 3. Stay tuned. Welcome back, folks. We're in round 3 of Wednesday Night Modern here in lovely Buffalo Grove, Illinois. I'm going to get our players started. Chris, what are we watching?
Yeah, we'll be once again watching David playing Infect versus Minley playing Amulet Titan. It's going to be a very aggressive, very quick game. It's all going to be dependent on our opening hands, and it's going to be an interesting one where David's going to be trying to Infect kill on turns 2, 3. And Min just combo killing, having multiple amulets in their opening hand, whether it's Amulet, Micro Synth Gardens, or the Urza Saga, getting some bounce lands going and combo killing with the Mirror Pool and double amulets. So we see David getting started with the turn 1 Shocked Overgrown Tomb. And we'll see if there's a Glistener Elf to try and threaten the turn 2 lethal here, or if we're just going to play the Mana Dork on turn 1 and be able to play multiple spells on turn 2. And looks like we have the Glistener Elf. So right now we're threatening that turn 2 lethal. I don't see the cards to be able to present it, but there is the possibility. And on Min's side, I see that Amulet of Vigor. So both players starting with their namesake 1-drops just off to the races. And this game, like, it already looks like it's going to be a quick one.
Yeah, David started with Mana Dorks in his beginning hands. In his other match, this time he's going to start with a Glistener, which is actually better. Can kill a little bit faster. We've seen Min have some very fast matches on camera as well. So, gonna get some good magic very fast here. We got a backup match, don't worry. If they're over in 5 minutes, we'll have more for you. As David gets that poison counter out, swings, hits Min for 2 Infect.
Yeah, and the big difference here is we see the Phyrexian Crusader in David's hand right now, and we see the double amulet. The game might be over very, very soon. I see a Lumra in hand, Expedition map. But I see a Simic Growth Chamber. Do we have a way of producing? Ooh, that's 6 mana right there. We have Lumra, which can bring them back. That's another group of mana there.
All right, Lotus Field is 3 mana each. There's not going to be any consigns this time for Min, so he's free to begin to do the thing here. As Loomer comes down, I'll pull that up for folks.
This is so much mana here. We got Urza's Cave, Simic Growth Chamber, Shifting Woodlands. So let's see here. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana currently, plus the 1 additional mana that was in our pool from the original Lotus Field Cavern setup. And now it's just going to be, do we have the pieces to be able to combo kill right here?
I can't get the card preview up. I don't know what happened, but Chris just explained what this card is going to do. It's at a Bloomburrow. Lots of lands going to start happening here. I know it's only turn 2. Min's about to take a lot of actions, though, as David's got a counter out for him. Probably for some floating mana purposes.
All right, so we see the Mirror Pool. We have Cavern that's able to make the colorless mana. And what Mirror Pool is going to allow us to do is pay 5 mana. It's going to be 1 colorless mana and I believe 4 additional mana to create a copy of Lumra. And then with our Lotus Field, we're able to produce 6 mana with Lotus Field, the colorless mana, and the additional couple of mana with our Mirror Pool. We're going to be creating a bunch of Lumras, which is just going to have the ETB effect, return all of our lands. We're going to be able to kind of mill through our deck and then just set up a turn where we're able to, I assume, have infinite mana. We're going to have Passages, which will blow up all of the lands in the deck outside of basic lands. We'll be able to have Otawara bounce all the creatures. And I'm not sure if there's another specific win con for Min outside of Hanowar Battlements, which is going to be able to give our Lumra haste. And we also might see a, I can't remember the specific card name, but it's green, red, X, be able to give Lumra plus X power. So then we can deal infinite damage with trample and haste here. But right here, we do have infinite mana, milled our entire deck. All of our lands are currently on the battlefield. We're going to be able to bounce lands with our bounce lands to our hand. And it looks like Min's just kind of explaining the combo here.
Kessig Wolfrun is the card you were thinking of.
Yeah, Kessig Wolfrun, right.
Thank you, Chatter.
Thank you, thank you. We're going to be able to give everything haste, everything plus a bajillion, plus bajillion, and just be able
Season to
to prevent
taste.
lethal.
Yeah, we saw a very similar situation with Min last week in our feature match area. Unfortunately, he was against a blue-white hammer player that happened to have a consigned to memory in his hand. And so Min went through lots of steps, used a summoner's pack to get a prime time, was trying to continue the loop. The prime time ETB got stifled, and Min had to die to his own pack trigger.
Oh man.
But David obviously does not have that kind of interaction in his hand, so Min a lot more free to do what he wants to do in this game.
All right.
David's going to take a chance, probably before scooping, to take a look at everything that Min has in his deck so he can prepare for game 2 as we see the scoop happen.
Oh man, what a quick game here.
That's what we predicted. These are fast matchups we're going to be seeing.
Yeah, I mean, both of them have the capabilities of having turn 2 kills between Glistener Elf, scale up, and then just Groundswell to deal lethal, and Min just having the double amulet turns.
All right. Min, I don't believe, submitted a deck list, so I've got a stock list pulled up from MTG Goldfish. I know, as opposed to certain Titan list, he prefers, I think, a full 4 Spelunking as opposed to the 2 in this one. And the Lumras, I don't think, are in this list either. This
Yep.
one has Scapeshift in it.
We do have a one of Lumra. It's in that second row there.
Oh, thank you. I missed it.
Normally, we only have one Lumras in Titan just because we can Summoner's Pact for it. We don't want to have too many of these random combo cards and flood our deck with 6 drops.
Oh, but she's so good.
Yeah, but Primeval Titan
Even
is
better.
But
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see. How much sideboarding do you think this Amulet deck is gonna do against Infect? Are they prepared for an Infect deck?
This deck normally doesn't have like a lot of sideboard hate for it, unless if Min is playing any dismembers to be able to interact with turn 1, turn 2 creatures. But with the list that we see here, there's not really anything that we want. There's a possibility of wanting Beseju just to blow up a random Inkmoth Nexus. But aside of that, we're not really in the business of trying to interact or do anything with the cards in the stock list, and we're just going to be mulliganing aggressively to try and kill on turn 2 or turn 3.
All right, and we'll take a look once again at David's list. This is his full 75 that he's working with, so potential sideboard options out of him.
Yeah, so for me, I think that there's definitely some interesting combinations of cards that we might see come in here, especially with David being on the play. We might see those consigned to memories, the spell pierces, to come in to try and interact with the Amulet of Vigor, as well as trying to do what we saw last week and just consign a Titan trigger and just make it so the Summoner's Pact kills on upkeep. There's I believe Suspend is the 1 blue mana exile target creature and then puts 2 suspend counters on it. So I assume we'll probably see that come in.
Time counters.
Time counters, that's right.
Suspend is the mechanic or the keyword.
Okay, so
right?
yeah, we put it onto Suspend and it has time counters on it.
Yeah.
We might see Abrupt Decay come in just to be able to blow up an amulet.
Yeah.
But in all honesty,
Consign also hits an amulet.
it does. I think with us being on the play, I don't hate bringing in like consigns and spell pierces. But either way, I think that we just kind of want to race from the Infect side. Just try and go for like turn 1, Glistener Elf, turn 2, scale up. It doesn't look like we have a lot of capability of killing on turn 2 outside of turn 1 Elf, turn 2, scale up, double mutagenic growth. Where the old Infect list for just Simic would play like Groundswell, which just gives +4/+4.
All right, we'll head into game 2 here. David's going to take a mulligan as well as the play.
And Min's thinking about their hand right now. Just curious if it's fast enough to be able to erase this Infect deck.
There's the question of knowing how fast your opponent can be and mulling to be even faster than them versus, keeping a good enough hand because you don't want to mulligan too far, right? And then put yourself out of the game.
And I don't remember what all David played in game 1, but there's also a possibility that Min's not even thinking about anything blue.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't think he represented any blue mana or cards at all.
Because I'm pretty sure it was Overgrown Tomb, Glistener Elf, turn 2 Inkmoth Nexus into
Did he play a
Ignoble.
dork?
Ignoble was turn
Oh, it
2.
was Iggy. It wasn't. It wasn't regular or
So
not Iggy.
if I was in Min's shoes, I wouldn't even be thinking of any blue interaction. I'd be just going, all right, turn 1 Amulet, turn 2 Amulet, try and kill you.
I don't know. Min's a pretty good Amulet player from what we've seen, and I don't know if that consign play is still sticking in his head from last week.
I'm,
Um,
I'm not 100% sure.
is Infect always use blue?
It doesn't always. There's been some Gruul versions. There's been some Golgari versions.
Mm-hmm.
The stock list is Simic, but
Ooh.
we see Venerated Rot
Yo,
Priest.
this is my kind of Infect. This is standard Toxic, baby. Ooh. Remember Bant Toxic? What a deck. Oh
That's still
man,
legal.
rotation killed that deck. What are you talking about, bro?
Isn't all the pieces still there?
You lost March of Swirling Mist. That's
Oh.
like a huge part of it. It combos really well with this card, Venerated Rob Priest. Let me see if I can get that up. When one of your creatures get target, your opponent gets 2 poison counters. Oh my god, double Venerated! That's crazy. That's the dream right there for
Yeah.
standard.
What's really crazy is Min has a second amulet in hand. There's a chance that this game is over before we even know it.
Yo, does David play March? There's no way. that'd be insane. There's no need. This is modern.
I mean, this is still, what is it, 5? We have 3 Infect that's been dealt. We have another Mutagenic Growth in hand. That's going to put them up to 5 Infect.
7, because both of them trigger. When
But
you
we only
muted,
target once.
you
And
target, and you get 1 from one.
Yeah.
You get 2 from each Rot Priest. That's 4.
It would only be,
It's not when it gets targeted. It's when a creature you control becomes targeted.
yeah, but Mutagenic Growth, we're only targeting 1 creature. So we're going to have 1 trigger of it, so we'll go up to 5 Infect. Oh, we drew another one. We have Lethal right now.
Oh, sorry, you're right. My math is wrong.
But
That's
right,
embarrassing. I was the one that played this deck.
but right now, we're able to represent just lethal damage
Oh,
without
literally, he's dead. So because they have toxic too, so he does damage.
So that's gonna put to 5, and then 7, pay 2 life. We're gonna hit it for 2 more toxic, go up to 9, and then this last pump spell will put it to 11 poison
What
damage.
you got? What you got? What kind of green card?
Blossoming Defense.
Fog. All right, that'll spell death for Min in game 2. Quick games, like we told you, folks. We'll head into game 3 in sideboards once more.
And I think the cool thing that we just saw there is it wasn't even Infect that killed, but it was just toxic damage and poison triggers. So that's a cool thing that David added to the list is we're no longer just focusing on attacking, but also having our triggers from our Venerated Rot Priests. Infect hasn't been super prevalent lately, so it's really cool to see these new iterations that we haven't been able to see since Infect's been pretty weak since the card Orcish Bowmaster, Ren and 6.
Fury got banned though.
Fury did get banned, and I know I've been seeing one player play Simic still because we have Preordain to be able to kind of sculpt our hand, get spell pierces. But let's go ahead and take a look at those sideboards again. Just take a quick peek.
Oh, I was going to show the leaderboard, actually.
Oh, you want to show the leaderboard?
Yeah, let's talk about the league. I know we've mentioned it a bunch of times. Here is where stuff stacked up before the start of tonight's matches. George, Joseph, and Kai sharing a 3-way tie for first with lots of people right on their heels. George, of course, was our Season 1 winner. And Isaac has not played at all this season, so could be lots of people vying to defeat our current, I would say, reigning champion with Isaac gone this season. George has been putting up some really good results. If you guys want to check out the leaderboard, head on over to our Discord, which I'll show here for just a second. Grab that QR code. That'll also lead you to the Energy Series Discord. If you need rides to Elmhurst since we've relocated, or if you need some testing partners, if you want to find teammates for our team events for next year, questions for our event staff, you can do all that in our Discord as well. We'll head back down to the action here as players shuffle up. Looks like Min is keeping a full 7 while David's looking at 6.
And the one thing that I wanted to add to the leaderboard, we do have all three of those players that are tied for first. We saw George and Kai both sitting at 2-0 before starting this round.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Joseph won round one, and I don't know how
He's at
round two
1-1.
at 1-1. So
Yeah, he's at table 6. So
still fighting for those points, trying to get there. And we see a Grazer turn one,
ooh.
trying to ramp up a little bit. And we have David going turn one. Are we seeing a dork? Are we seeing the Glistener Elf? Looks like we have the Glistener Elf just trying to be aggressive. Maybe seeing a double mana dork play next turn.
Double exalted triggers. Spelunking will be turn 2 play for Min. Ramping as well. Gets to put a land into play. That land will be Urza's Saga.
And it's kind of funny seeing 4 lands or 4 mana in play, Spelunking in play, and saying this, but Min having a little bit of a slower start, not having double Amulet this game, but going towards the Spelunking game plan here.
Yeah, definitely going to throw that Grazer in front of the Glistener with the double exalted trigger. That's 3/10 of the way there by my math. So Grazer will go under the Glistener. Life totals will be basically full.
Fire Spout, what a card to be playing.
What's that card do?
That is going to clean up the board state here. I can't give you the exact Oracle text
I
off
got
the
you,
top of my
friend.
head,
I
but
got you.
deals 3 damage to each creature without flying, which says wrath your board. And now David is going to have to find something to be able to fight back.
He's got to rebuild. He'll use a Surveil land. Oh, and keep it on top. Okay.
And I see a Venerated Rot Priest, which is how we won last game.
Mm-hmm.
And
But now Min's got time.
ooh,
That's one thing you don't want to give a Titan player.
I think there might be another kind of time I see in hand, and that's a prime time.
Oh, that was good. Gold
But
star.
we have 5 mana in play at the moment, so a single land drop will allow us to play that Primeval Titan that's in hand, and Hanwar Battlements plus a red source. We're going to be firing on all cylinders here in just a moment from Min's side. But the weird interaction between Spelunking and Amulet of Vigor, if I remember correctly, is not going to actually have the lands enter tapped because Spelunking will say they will enter the battlefield untapped.
You can. Is it? Oh, let's get the Spelunking up.
But we have Primeval Titan coming in. Gonna get, I assume, the Hanwar Battlement and the red source here.
Yeah, not a May.
Yeah. So we'll have a hasty Titan here with Crumbling Vestige. Looks like is going to be the red side and the Hanwar Battlements to give our Primeval Titan this haste attack for 6 more damage.
So May.
Let's see what. I'm kind of curious what we're gonna grab. Is it just gonna be a Simic Growth Chamber plus Teleria West?
And Bryce, what do you think? I see you in chat. What's the play? Resident Amulet expert.
All right, so we see
Odawara.
All right, okay.
And the Simic Growth Chamber.
So we're gonna just bounce the Venerated Rot Priest, I assume here. We're gonna have 3 mana in our pool, bounce it right away. And just start crashing in with this Primeval Titan, just trying to put lethal on board as soon as we can. Because this Infecta can just kill out of nowhere. And we have Snakeskin Veil to be able to protect our creature and keep it in play, trigger Infect, give Min 1 more poison counter, and start that clock as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
Still going to push for 6 damage, though. So David will go to 12, and Min's got all these lands now.
and the funniest part about it is this game alone is the same amount of turns as both of our first 2 games combined.
It's
We're
hard to keep
reaching
track
turn 4.
with all the... You can't track it by land drops, for sure. And you can't track it by game actions, either.
But this format is showing exactly why it's considered one of the faster formats that we have. And we see a consigned to memory in hand. So
Ooh, no.
we might see a
That's-
nice
that's-
trigger here.
That's Min's mortal enemy. Oh, goodness. You really got to play it at the exact right time, though. There's a lot of different things you can consign in this deck. So you don't want to misstep with it.
And it looks like David's just going to hold it for the Primeval Titan trigger, which completely makes sense because I believe Min can have lethal here. Um,
If he's able to grab the lands off the attack trigger.
yeah, if we have the, um, well, oh, we're just gonna start making extra copies of Primeval Titan here.
Mm.
So it looks like we have.
Whoa, here comes the consign.
That is not going to be how it works because it is a activated ability instead of a triggered ability.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get that Titan either way, but it looks like the consign is going to counter the grabbing 2 lands from the first Titan copy trigger. But we'll still give it haste with that Hanwar Battlement, crash in for 12 damage, and most likely just have lethal damage here. And
Yeah.
there's a handshake as Amulet Titan takes down Infect in a
Sheesh.
quick 3 games.
All right, Min's back to 3-0, just like he was last week. We'll see if he can take it home this week. We'll head into our backup match and see what they're doing over there. We've got Andres and Clark, Eldrazi versus Energy.
All right. So by the board state, it looks like we're probably going to be in game 2 here.
I'm going to go check real quick.
I see a Bone Crusher. There's no way that's in the main deck. But it looks like some Mardu energy action, so that's going to be using some Carthonian Nightmares. And on the Eldrazi side, we see the Soaring Microspawn. And that card is just messing up all kinds of formats, not only just Modern, but Legacy. Just being able to blow up lands and then go find more lands. Super powerful effect here. And we're seeing how Energy is able to keep up, deal some extra damage, and play Damping Spheres to kind of mitigate the amount of ramp that they get.
Yeah, both these players also fighting to be in that top 8 as well. Andre sitting at 10th place and Clark sitting at 12th. They've both been playing, I think, just about every single week here. So
Did we have an extra mana for that Orcish Bowmaster?
because of the damping sphere.
Oh, it's because Damping Sphere would make it cost 3 mana, and Trinisphere would also say 3 mana. So I believe replacement effects would say that Orcish Bowmaster still only costs 3 mana.
Hmm.
That's super weird.
Yeah. Trinisphere and damping sphere on the field at the same time can be a little interesting. Go to combat here on Andres' turn. Swing with the, is that the Devourer?
It sure is.
Brings Clark down to 10 to Andres' 9.
And we have, I believe, an Ocelot Pride as the card per turn, which is going to do a good job just creating chump blockers to have infinite blockers versus this Devourer of Destiny. And we're going to go ahead and start
Ooh,
Oh,
there was a lot of
Kozilek's
crash,
command.
and that'll clean up. Oh,
Oh,
my God,
no.
Clark's entire board, and that'll be the scoop. Wow,
Oh, Kozilek's command is so brutal.
that's nasty.
Yeah, this Eldrazi deck is very, very, very strong. Having both Kozilek's command being able to be played as early as turn 2 with the new Eldrazi land, or I don't think it's an Eldrazi land, but
Which one?
the new Ancient Tomb where you can exile a 7-drop or higher.
Oh, Labyrinth?
Yeah, Ugin's Labyrinth. Being able to play that on turn 1 and then a red source on turn 2 allows you to just be able to cast that Kozilek's Return on turn 2. Being able to deal with all these aggro decks. And it's part of the reason why I've been hesitant on playing Yogg. But George, he's on the other side. He's like, Yogg is here, Yogg is now. And I like that attitude.
I know he's in first place in the league, but heard you were commentating. He's like, I don't need control. I'll win with Yogg. And he's doing it, man. He's 2-0 on the night. We'll see if he manages to advance to 3-0. We might see him in our final round here. Here's the leaderboard for all those wondering. We've seen a lot of these players here tonight. I know even more of them are playing in the room as well.
And the top 3 players are all playing control decks of their own variety. We have Kai playing Wizards, which is just going to be playing things like Tamio and Flame of Anor, just playing more of like a tempo style control deck, where Joseph, I believe, was playing the Jeskai dress down deck that we saw in round 1, which is going to be accumulating those cards. And then George is playing the creature control deck, just keeping that board state nice and clear and playing these crazy cards like Young Wolf. What a powerful all-star. But it's super cool to be able to see all these players today
Yeah, and don't
fighting
count out
for
the non-control players either. We've got Rich sitting at 6 playing Mill a lot of these weeks. We've got Jack playing Goblins every single one of these weeks. Alex usually playing Mono Black decks, playing Ruby Storm today. All sorts of fun stuff. You got AJ down there playing Hammer. May, of course, playing pioneering the frog ball deck with Abhorrent Oculus.
I forgot about that. That's super cool.
Yeah, when I asked for creature combo decks earlier, May asked if Unearth plus Abhorrent Oculus counts as creature combo.
Hey, I think it does because Psychic Frog says discard your eye, and then Unearth says it's a combo with it.
Yeah.
So that seems like a powerful combination of cards to win a game as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, still lots of Magic to play, and the format of our league is you drop your lowest score, so you can miss a week or have a poor performance. And we just totaled the top 9 scores. So we do have that adjusted total in our leaderboard as well. You can check out our Discord. Check out our Discord for access to that leaderboard if you want to see all the math and our previous season's results as well. Those were some fast matches there, man. I know we thought that that main feature was going to go really fast. I thought the backup match might last a little bit longer, but that K-Command really just
sealed the deal there.
Indeed, indeed. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we head into a break?
Yeah, while you scan the QR code for the NRG Gaming, you also see the NRG Series. So if you are interested in playing in the NRG Series event, we have that in Chicago in just a couple of weeks. That is going to be another double showdown weekend. So make sure to tune in for that. That's going to give 2 opportunities to Q4 NRG Champs, which is in December, if I remember correctly.
December 14th and 15th.
And the new structure that they have for Champs is super cool. It's going to be a lot of great Magic. And even if you can't make it out to one of these events, we'll be streaming those live to all of y'all here or not here. It's going to be an NRG Series Twitch, which is going
Well, Energy Chicago is going to be in Elmhurst. Champs will be at the store.
for Twitch, twitch.tv
Oh, yes,
NRG Series.
That's correct. It won't be on this channel.
But those will be both streamed live. So even if you can't make it out to these events in Chicago, you can watch every piece of that action with rounds 1 through 9 all being streamed. And for Champs, all 15 or 16 rounds of Magic.
It's a lot. It's a lot of rounds. It's a 2-day event.
It's 2 days.
24 players, $35,000, invites to the Pro Tour. It's gonna be a big event, man.
I'm super excited.
I'm so pumped. I'm excited to get my art cards signed. I don't know about you. I have this tradition every year. I collect art cards, and every year I get to I ask the Champs competitors to all sign one that means something to them or is like a deck or card that they've played.
Yeah,
So,
I happened to sign one last year.
do you remember which one?
It's this 4-drop. It's called Yogmoth Thran Physician.
Oh, I've never heard of that card. What's it do?
Yeah, it's we saw it on feature a couple rounds ago.
Oh, that's right.
It has a lot of flavor text on it, like protection from humans.
That's flavor text.
Oh, it's flavor text. Also, black, discard a card, proliferate. Great flavor text.
I always
there.
forget about that part of the flavor text.
But I ended up signing one of those last year, and 15 other players signed their choice of art cards. And I think it's like really cool to be able to not only just have that aesthetic, but they also have really cool shadow cases that they gave out last year.
Oh yeah, that's just a personal thing. That doesn't. I don't think getting to sign an art card for me is an incentive to go to Champs.
I don't know. I was pretty excited to sign a card. And
I'm sure.
I know Raja even mentioned it when I talked to him last.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like
That's
it
so
might be
sweet.
small, but there's a lot of like small like additional value that like comes from not only just like Champs but all these series events. And I think the coolest one for me is just like the photography that is done for free, posted on the Facebook. Just
I know
super
so
cool.
many people that use the Energy series photos as like profile pics. You know, the candid
yeah.
ones of them playing or their top 8 photos. It's really cool to see how many people are excited about the series and that like I get to, you know, be a part of it and that kind of thing because I'm definitely not good enough to play in the events too often. Though I give it a try every once in a while.
Yeah,
And that could be you too, gamers. You give it a try this November 2nd and 3rd in Elmhurst, Chicago. I think we've rambled on for a little bit here. Make sure to hit that follow button. Give us your Bezos bucks. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks, to our fourth and final round of Wednesday Night Modern. Teddy, we have not seen here. He's been crushing all night long with Enchantress as he do. Min, we've seen before in this exact situation. 3-0, round four. Let's get our players started.
All right, so we see Enchantress here. I was just taking a quick look at this deck list, and oh my goodness, there's some heaters in here. We have some Overlords. We have Enigmatic, if I remember seeing it correctly. We have Omen of the Sea to be able to deal with these Urza sagas. Lots of different options for us on the Enchantress side. And as we talked about last round, Amulet Titan is just a very consistent, fast killing combo deck revolving around both our graveyard now, as well as just doing the normal Primeval Titan plan. And
Ooh, Boseiju is not the best land to start with, especially against Enchantress, where it might have some extra uses. An Expedition map also slow as well. Min not really going to interact, plan to interact a lot with Teddy. Teddy, of course, is going to have to try and stop this combo deck before it can get off.
and it kind of looks like we're just setting up for a nice controlling battlefield with Urza Sagas, just making some construct beatdowns from inside until we decide to go for the combo kill. But the nice part about these bounce lands is it does return our Boseiju who endures to our hand and is going to allow us to blow up some of these enchantments.
It
But
definitely endures in an Amulet Titan deck. It comes back and back and back.
the one thing that I'm not 100% sure is if Min is aware of what's going to be happening from Teddy's side. Uh, if
Hall of Heliod's Generosity, Min, that's what that land is. I couldn't tell you what it does, but I do know the name is another card he's probably going to have to look at. Overlord. Which Overlord is? I cannot recall. Chris, you know?
I'm not sure, but Hall of
Blood
Helios,
Pits, probably, right?
yeah,
That
Flood
sounds
Pit sounds
blue.
right. And Hall of Helios Generosity is just going to be a white and a colorless. Put an enchantment from your graveyard to the top of your deck. That way you can just recur some of those pesky enchantments like Sterling Grove and Solitary Confinement.
Mm-hmm.
But drawing some cards, discard a card with our nice enchantment here. And on the battlefield, it still sees its CMC, I believe, 5. That way we can stack it to the Enigmatic Incarnation. But it looks like we have Flage, Utopia Sprawl in hand. Not seeing a green source just yet. So we might
Mm,
be stuck on, oh, I see a Stomping Grounds there.
yeah, far right or
But
left.
Teddy just has in mind that there is a Boseiju who endures in Min's hand right now. So that's going to be able to interact with whatever Teddy does here, whether it's playing an enchantment to accelerate the game plan or playing an enchantment to be able to
Oh,
have powerful turns.
yeah, because he can 2-for-1 it by blowing up the land.
But the awkward part here is Teddy has to use the only forest, quote unquote, on the battlefield to pay and put the Utopia Sprawl onto it. So not getting that free mana this turn. But looks like Deputy is stealing the Expedition map. And Min chooses not to crack it this turn, but instead just make a Urza Saga token, which makes complete sense. Start to get that accumulation of bodies on the field, and we'll have a 2-2, possibly a 3-3 in no time. But I believe at this point, Min only has amulets to grab off of the Urza Sagas, so that makes the decision point really easy for us. And it's just going to decide what we want to do with our turn, whether it's making 2 constructs or floating a mana and casting some creatures.
Yeah, draw for turn was an aftermath analyst that can help fuel things as well, get stuff going. Amulet will be the grab off of the Urza Saga. Min will opt to float a mana over making a construct token before that one goes away.
Ooh, I see a Vesuva in hand to be able to make 2 additional green-blue mana, and it looks like we have a Primeval Titan as well. So we're going to be able to get some nice ramping going with the Titan, and then possibly post-combat do some shenanigans with the Aftermath Analyst if we decide to grab Lotus Field. I'm not really sure if there's a way for us to combo off on the Amulet Titan side of the battlefield. I think that's what Min's thinking about right now. If they just grab the Anwar Battlements and a red source to be able to haste up the Titan and then grab some pieces for a combo. But it does look like Crumbling Vestige and Hanwar Battlements is going to be the cards we grab. Just haste up that Titan and get aggressive, try and beat down the Enchantress player.
Seems like a good plan. Teddy hasn't shown anything too scary yet.
Yeah,
In fact, he'll scoop it up here as Min goes to combat.
yeah, it makes sense. Looked like the hand was an Atraxa, the White Overlord, and probably a Flage if I saw that correctly. Nothing really to be able to get us ahead on that battlefield, but let's go ahead and take a look at those sideboards, see if there's anything Teddy can bring in to kind of help up in this matchup. And we see a Obsidian Charmal on that sideboard. Is that 15? Nope. We got Consigned to Memory.
There's a couple
We
repeats,
got
yeah.
Dress Downs, 1 Solitary Confinement, 2 Teferi, Alish Norn Grand Cenobite. I love that card.
That's the anti-energy one. You see a lot of 2 damage or 2, I don't know what you would call a status effect. -2
Yeah.
status effect for the Elish Norn. You see a lot of those kinds of effects in sideboards right now for energy.
So what I'm seeing right now is a White Orchid Phantom, Magus of the Moon, Obsidian Charmaw, Consigned to Memory, and Dress Down coming in for this Staxtress deck. That's such a good
Stackstress.
name.
Yeah. Teddy's been a big Enchantress player for a long time. Tooling this one to be a little more stacks heavy.
And it's really cool to see. There's Sun Titan, there's Phantasmal Image in this deck, there's Glasspool Mimic. It looks like there is a combo somewhere possible in this deck, but I can't figure it out. It's one of the things I've been trying to do for ever since I saw this deck list. Is it looks like it's so close, but I can't figure it out. If anyone in chat can see any kind of combos in here, please let me know because it's been bothering me. But let's go ahead and take a look at that other deck list real quick.
We've seen Amulet a couple times. It's the same one I keep pulling up, but if you're just tuning in, here it is.
So this is just like a stock version. Not 100% sure if it's exactly what Min is playing, but the main thing that we want to be looking at is in the sideboard, we do have extra copies of Beseiju. Usually people are playing either 1 to 2 extra copies in the sideboard, which are going to be really good against this Enchantress deck if Min knows that there's a lot of Enchantress pieces in this deck. And then we'll probably also see possibly like Splunking, getting ready for like a longer game because you don't really need to haste up a Titan on turn 3 and kill your opponent, but you can also win a longer game in this matchup. But I don't know how the players are doing on shuffling and sideboarding.
Let's tune in and see what they're up to.
All right, looks like we're shuffling up right now, and I think what Teddy needs to do is just try and have an opening hand that's going to be like a green source plus Utopia Sprawl. You just have to play a faster game plan versus this Amulet Titan deck, interacting with Magus of the Moon for the lands, or having some sort of action like a turn 3 Enigmatic Incarnation. For Min, it's just Beseiju being
Go
able
fast.
to interact. Go fast. Amulet. You're going to have inevitability with your Primeval Titans being able to find any of those combo piece lands.
A big smile from Min.
Ooh, it looks like it might be something cheeky.
Teddy Stoneface looking at his starting 7.
Uh,
Too cheeky. Minimal mulligan.
I have
Teddy
a
will
feeling
keep.
it's got a handful of Urza Sagas and Amulets and nothing to do with them. But let's see. We got a couple lands, Destiny Spinner. We got the Spreading Seas, which is also huge.
Ooh.
So it looks like 4 lands. I think I might see a Utopia Sprawl in it and a Skyclave Apparition. That's a pretty solid hand that we see from Teddy here. Being able to interact with lands with your Spreading Sea, being able to have a turn 2 Skyclave to interact with those amulets. Yeah, this is the kind of hand that Teddy needs to be able to race this Amulet Titan deck. Just be able to interact early. And on Min's hand, I see an Explorer, I see 1 ring. Looks like a couple bounce lands. No, it looks like 1 bounce land, 3 untap lands. So it looks like a nice fair hand from Min's side.
Fair hand
Yeah, fair hand.
from Titan.
Yeah.
Sure.
This turn 1 land go, turn 2 explore, play land. turn 3 Wondering.
There's a reason we haven't seen too much Titan on feature before Min. It's because there's not a lot of Magic to watch. They win too fast. We
Yeah,
need some more content.
this is definitely a deck that just wins or loses, and it happens on turn 3 either way.
Ooh, Brickman's got a nice line. Sack Spreading Seas to Incarnation, get Magus of the Moon.
Ooh! Blow up all those lands.
Sheesh. See if Teddy can pull that off. Shocks in a Sacred Foundry down to 17, and we'll Spreading Seas the Commercial District. I'm inside.
All right, no sinkholes here, no Urza Saga.
Sinkholes. Oh,
Oh
my
yeah,
goodness.
2 mana destroy target Urza Saga. And ooh, we drew an expedition map for turn, so we're able to play land, play expedition map. Yep, I did see that correctly. And I see a Force of Vigor in Min's hand, which is gonna do a really good
Oh.
job blowing up some lands
Seems like a
soon.
great card against Teddy.
And there's a chance that we just pay 4 mana to blow up things.
Oh,
But-
yeah, just hardcast it.
oh yeah.
I'm going to value the other cards in hand.
And it looks like Teddy is just going to be drawing some cards with the blue Overlord. What is it? Overlord of the Flood Pit, we
Flood
said?
Pits, yeah. I play
Alright.
another Flood Pits card. Flood Pits Drowner.
Flood Pits.
That's the Merfolk Trickster in Standard.
That's right, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, but we grab a white source here, so it looks like we're not doing the card draw plan, but we're just going to exile this expedition map.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, just playing a little slow, making sure that Min isn't doing anything, grabbing any unfair lands, grabbing more Besejus. As
Speaking of.
we just play the One Ring here and just start drawing cards. Here, that card's pretty good.
Me too. We've seen a few of them tonight already.
The one nice part about Modern, and I don't think I've ever said this,
Okay.
is I don't see any companions on the battlefield for either player.
Ooh, I think we've seen at least one.
One Jagantha from Dom.
We saw a Kahira from Tepper. And I think that might be it.
Yeah, I saw Jaganthas, Kahiras, Yorions, every single round in Pioneer.
Oh, yeah.
And Modern, we're companion free. Lots of unfair magic, but not having companions. It's pretty nice change of pace.
Oh, yeah? How?
Oh no, not another one.
Are you willing to trade companions for One Rings?
Actually, more companions, please.
Did you see the 8 companion deck? I did. I
Oh.
did see that one.
There was 9 companions in there.
9 companions?
Yeah.
How about the Yorion 80 lands deck?
Did you see the 9 companions and 1 trillion lands deck?
Oh, yes. It was like 2 million lands.
The average deck size for the RC was over 1 million.
Because of that one player.
Oh yeah.
That's incredible. Let's talk about the magic at hand, though. We saw
Alright.
Teddy, Deputy of Detention, the One Ring in response. Min cast another one. Teddy's going to play
Ooh.
his own Titan, though, in Sun Titan. Grab some permanents back. Give me that Spreading Seas back. Cover your Simic Growth Chamber.
I absolutely love this. Sun Titan just getting in there. And now we're going to be able to attack and bring back some lands next turn.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, Min just needs to start drawing some good cards off of these One Rings. Like, one thing that Teddy might be able to do is get a Glasspool Mimic if we draw an Enigmatic Incarnation off of the Spreading Seas to be able to copy our Sun Titan, or sorry, not Sun Titan, copy our Deputy to be able to steal that One Ring. Because it's got to be dealt with soon, or else it's just going to run away with the game. Right now, the Spreading Seas is preventing Min from casting this Primeval Titan. So Min has some options here. It looks like we have a, let's see here.
I wonder if he has Castle Garenbrig.
That could cast Titan, but it looks like we already played our land per turn for the Shifting Woodlands.
I know. I think unless they play it in addition, I think Shifting Woodlands replaced the Garenbrig. I can't recall.
Yeah,
I'll have to look at that example deck list we had again. We'll see an Aftermath Analyst come down for Min, though. Mill over a few cards. Crumbling Vestige, Summoner's Pact,
so next turn we'll
and
be
one
able
more
to-
card.
It looks like Urza's Cave.
I was going to say that, but I swear I was gonna say I'm not I'm not Johnnin.
But I believe I see a white overlord there. Either that or it's
Ooh.
a white phantom.
White Phantom Orchid, he plays White Orchid Phantom rather. He
Yes.
plays both. Swing down to 13 off the Sun Titan, get a land back.
And
Surveil Lush Portico.
so if you see a 3 mana enchantment or less on the top of your deck, are you milling it to try and hit it with your Sun Titan, or are you just wanting to draw
Ooh, I like the. I guess.
it? Land graveyard.
Yeah, that's an easy surveil.
But we're gonna be able to surveil land with this Windswept Heath. I believe I saw 2 or 3 surveil lands in the deck list originally. So we'll probably do another surveil at the end of
He's got
Min's turn.
Meticulous and Lush, and that's it.
Alright, so it was 2 surveil lands. So we'll be able to go ahead and surveil again on the end step as we see the Force of Vigor blowing up,
Ooh,
Spreading Seas, and an Abundant Growth. Oh, no, if it's the Utopia spell. Alright, that makes sense. And that's going to be 2. Oh,
That's gonna be stuff you can bring back with Sun Titan.
And that's also allowing Min to crack the Aftermath Analyst now. So that's a very heads-up play. Free casting that Force of Vigor to be able to ramp up to, what are we at, like 8 mana now?
Yep.
Just kind of curious what that Vesuva is going to copy. I'm not sure what the best option here for Min is. It looks like Min's kind of thinking about that too. I think...
Maybe the Beseiju? No, sorry. The bounce land. Bounce the Beseiju?
Yeah, I like that play. Allowing us to get that Beseiju in hand to be able to interact with.
Let's go! I called an Amulet line.
Let's go. That was a good call.
Thank you.
I didn't even see that line at first. But we do draw 3 more cards.
I'm learning. I've been losing to Titan for years. I've refused to learn.
We now have double Amulet. We have Primeval Titan. This is a scary spot for Teddy if there's not any interaction here.
Who's gonna win, Sun Titan or Primeval Titan?
The 6/6.
Oh man, pop quiz. Which set did the Titan cycle first come out in?
The only set that I can think of is definitely not right.
What? Okay, there's a lot that I could name that are not right.
Because I wanted to say, because the only copies I had of Primeval Titan was Modern Masters 2013. I want to say it came out of a core set. My guess is core set 2012.
Core set 2012. Chat.
2010. I'm guessing 2010.
2010. All right, let's pull it up here. It is which one? Which core set did you say?
2010.
It's 2011.
Oh no!
Ugh.
Oh, I'm so sad. Well, I guess 2012 and then 2010, so right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I think you got as close as you could get without getting it. I'll take that as a win, personally.
I'll take it. But
back to the game at hand. Now on Teddy's turn. Excuse me.
We might be
reorienting. We're still on Min's turn. Min's still doing stuff, as the Titan players are oft to do.
Yeah.
Bouncing lands once more. With the 2 amulets, you get double as much. Here comes the prime time.
And Teddy, it looks like we just have 3 lands in hand there.
Really?
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
And to make it even more heartbreaking there, it looks like there's a Surveil land in Teddy's hand. So even at end step, it'll just be another shock land. But Min is just probably going for lethal here. We got both Mirror Pool and Lotus Field. The combo's enabled. And Min's just going, hey, either you have it or you're dead. And
yeah, either you've got some sort of interaction. I mean, he does have mana up. So Min could play cautiously here. And give Teddy another turn.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
I doubt it as well here.
But that could happen. Shifting woodland, copying.
It's going to copy the Aftermath Analyst, I assume, and we'll start seeing min deck themselves, um, creating multiple triggers of ETBs, copying the Aftermath Analyst, slowly looping it to mill the entire deck. And
Mm-hmm.
as we saw last time, we're going to create infinite Primeval Titans, having them all have haste, having infinite powered. If we have the um, oh no, I forgot the card again.
Which
The green red wolf something.
Kessig Wolf
Kessig
Run.
Wolf one. That's it. And then grabbing Otawara Beseju's blowing up every land and just attacking it for lethal.
I think I asked the wrong question, Chris. It isn't who will win, Sun Titan or Primeval Titan. It's who will win, Sun Titan or a million Primeval Titans.
Well, my answer is still the same. The 6/6.
The 6/6. There you go. We're all winners here. But tonight's winner is Min Lee. Last week lost in our final feature match. This week redeems himself and goes 4-0. Teddy with a great showing as well goes 3-1. Everyone did great tonight, in fact. You're all winners in my book. Folks, you at home too, you watching our stream supports us, and I really appreciate you. Before we head into the night, we're going to do some quick ad reads. If you're heading out, though, make sure to hit that follow button before you go. We're live every Wednesday at 6:30 with Magic, live every Thursday at 6:30 with Pokemon. If you need to buy Magic cards for your next event, head on over to nerdragegaming.com. We have tens of thousands of singles in stock, and we're listing more every day. Hit the notification button on a card to get notified as soon as we list more. Ship countrywide, pick up at the Energy Series event, or in store as well. We have a loyalty program. The more you spend, the more you save. 1% store credit back as soon as your first purchase, all the way up to 10% back with every single order. We have other cards on our website as well. We're currently in the process of integrating all of our non-Magic inventory onto the website. Pick up Pokemon, Digimon, One Piece, Lorcana, Flesh and Bud, and Union Arena. Speaking of, these are all the ways you can play at our store. This still needs to be updated because we're adding more games once again. Did you know there's a Gundam game coming out from Bandai?
I did not know that.
We're going to give that one a try too. We'll see. I don't know if we're doing logos for it, but we are getting some product for it. So check out our website and our socials for when pre-orders for that go up. I don't even know the name. It's just like Gundam TCG. I don't know. People are already asking about when we're going to get it. So lots of excitement for that. Here's all the ways you can play at our store currently, though. Monday is Commander and Digimon. Tuesday is One Piece League and Lorcana. I'll shout out our Lorcana Set Championship this Saturday at 11 o'clock. Come win. We're giving away a full case of Shimmering Skies and some beautiful Encanto promos, I believe it is. Wednesday is Modern and Union Arena now. We just had our very first Union Arena night tonight. You can come and join us next week for that. Thursday is more Commander and Pokemon. Friday is our Boomer Zoomer F&M with Legacy and Standard, as well as One Piece. You can earn fun Cowboy Bebop promos at our Standard Showdowns. And Saturday is our Digimon League. This weekend, I believe, is our top 8 circuit for that. I believe to qualify you 4-0 league, and then you get to play for a top 8 event, which the first of is this weekend. Check out our socials for that. That's all scheduled by Zeke. He does a great job. So check out that if you enjoy Bandai games. He runs all that stuff. If you're looking to play competitive REL Magic, head on over to Elmhurst, Illinois now, no longer Indianapolis. Thank you, Taylor Swift. On November 2nd and 3rd, we're giving away $15,000 and I believe 7 or 8 spots to champs if you count all the showdowns and the point leaders and all that jazz. If you're in that points race, you need to be there. That's how you're going to qualify for champs. Our championship event is December 14th and 15th. $35,000, 24 players, and an invite to the Pro Tour on the line. But before that, you got to win a showdown. If you do so, you get qualified for the next RC. You get a custom token from Inkling Customs, and you get a sick trophy. That's pretty neat, too. I think the trophy is an underrated aspect of the win. It's just the big physical piece that says, I did it, I won. Not a lot of people have this. I wasn't going to say nobody, but not a lot. Not a lot of people have that. We're running great events, folks. You got to check them out. There's so many different ways to engage with your hobbies, and we offer you lots of really fun, welcoming ways to do it with easy entry points from the store level all the way up to destination event, competitive REL level. With that being said, that'll wrap up our coverage for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me, Chris. You did a great job tonight.
Thanks for having me. It was a blast to be able to watch a lot of amazing Magic content, which you can also do by following twitch.tv/NRG series, where we'll have all this coverage for NRG Chicago and NRG Champs.
S- Uh, Stay tuned for a quick little. Where is my button? Oh my goodness. We got this. There's some fun music coming along, but I hope you folks all have a good night. Take care.
Bye.